Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. Alright, we are back with more Winds of Change. This is it. We are approaching the finale of this visual novel. I'm cautiously optimistic and very nervous. I don't know what's about to happen next. I don't know if everyone is going to survive this war. I don't know how my purity and corruption levels will affect this. Yeah, I've been thinking about it since this morning. And it made me want to play more of this so badly, so I made time, and here we are. So, last time, we arrived at Balteus, and we took the library as our base of operation. And here we are resting before the final battle. The last thing I can do before everything happens is have some one-on-one time with my allies one final time. I already did the scene with Ulric, and I loved it, and I love this man. So I'm gonna hope that we both get our happy ending by the end of all this. Alright, because Sylvie did not have a lot to say during that entire time, let's talk to him first. There's a knock at my door, more urgent sounding than I anticipated. It couldn't possibly be time to launch the attack. It must be something else. As soon as I open it, Sylvie steps into the room, a look of anxiety on his face.
Sorry, I just needed to get away from that atrium monarch. Everybody keeps telling me what to do, and it's getting on my nerves. I have no problem helping out your cause, but it's my choice to do so. I followed enough orders while I was under the triumvirate's control. Joining you and your army, I thought I'd finally be a free man. I mean, I guess I am. Ignore me. I'm just complaining.
He shrugs and starts wandering around the room. I tell him that it's okay. He shouldn't have to follow orders here. I give him free rein to do whatever he sees as the most useful.
You know, that's why I like you. You're the only person who lets me do what I want. Everybody else keeps me at arm's length, commanding me. After all I've been through, I think I want to be the commander. I always thought I've been meant for more than what I was given. When I met you, and you accepted my offer, I knew I was right. At first, I only planned to help you until we took down Halen. But we've grown so close, and your comrades are so accepting. I've never felt such a sense of belonging. A sense, perhaps, of family.
I really hope that at some point he mentions whether or not he and Ulrich buried the hatchet and became friends again. Like, I really want to know. With a smile, he takes a book from the shelf and opens it up.
You know, I've been reading about the monarchy. They seem to be more similar to the triumvirate than we thought. The triumvirate demands perfection. The monarchy sought the perfect future. And it seems like neither group cared about what costs they paid. but it's impossible to pinpoint the moment the monarchy was imprisoned. Many of these books are dated with a system I'm unable to decipher. So how advanced was the monarchy when the triumvirate took action? Were they silencing a real threat? Or perhaps a potential threat? One is more acceptable than the other, but neither are just. I find myself wondering what would happen if someone opposed the monarchy. What if somebody got in the way of them and their perfect future? Would they be killed, just like enemies of the triumvirate? And furthermore, how did they possess foresight to begin with? You inherited it from them, but where did they get it from? Sorry for rambling. There's just so many questions. It might be best to just forget the monarchy ever existed. Start over, from scratch, under the banner of the rebellion. Why reclaim a world for someone who would be your enemy? The triumvirate controls us in an attempt to keep everything pure. The monarchy, too, controlled their subjects, just for a different reason. We want to live free, right? Free to do what we want and live how we want.
I nod.
Why settle for the lesser of two evils? Forget the triumvirate. Forget the monarchy. Carve your own path. Follow none tread by others.
I shake my head, unsure of how to react. This world didn't belong to the triumvirate, but not to us either. We were simply their creation, given free will by the monarchy. This seems to have been a conquest meant to reclaim their world. We may not be alive to see it happen, but we should rule it like they did. I have the blade too, and I was from Valinor. I always look towards the future. All of those things considered, I was uniquely qualified to rule in their stead. I couldn't just use everything they gave me, and then throw away their ideals.
You don't understand.
He throws the book aside and pins me back against the wall. Jeez, he's so hostile. I stand strong, meeting his gaze, almost as if issuing a direct challenge. His grip is strong, and I can tell he's really passionate about this subject.
If you let them control your actions, then you'll never truly be free. No matter who you align with, you'll inherit ideals that harm, like poison. You need to look to the past, not the future. Avoid the mistakes they made.
After a few moments of silence, he releases his grip on my body. He turns around and looks away, as if he's ashamed at his actions.
I apologize, Monarch. I let my emotions get the better of me. Around you, I feel almost free to express them.
I tell him not to worry, and I accept his apology. His allegiance, at its core, has always been to the world. He just wanted me to take care of it when it was in my hands.
It's probably best if we forget this ever happened. I'll get back to what I was doing and see you in the atrium. After all, we don't have much time left. We've come to the end.
Before he leaves, I make sure to tell him that he made a good point. In the future, if his views ever differ, I request that he feel free to speak up. I really need some people to help them walk the right path, myself included.
Very well.
With a nod, he leaves the room. I pick up the book he threw and put it back on the shelf. As time goes by, I feel the weight of the world rest upon my shoulders. After we won, if we won, the real work will begin. We had to win the people over and figure out how we'd handle Alestia. Because of Sovi, I'm now filled with doubt. Is there any right way to rule the world? I don't know. I really don't. All we can do is avoid mistakes of the past. But that only paves the way for us to make new mistakes. All I could do was hope that these new mistakes didn't harm the world. I meant well, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really count for much. The triumvirate and the monarchy both went well, and look at what happened. Hey, Minotaur! Welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. I'm going through all the loyalty scenes right now, so you didn't miss much. Let's spend some final time with Pro next. I invite Pro over to my room to spend some final time together. He has the dangerous task of infiltrating the Triumvirate's castle. There's no telling what would happen, and I can tell that he's scared.
So, I guess this is it, huh? You know, I always thought that I'd be ready, but now that we're here, I feel such apprehension. I know the layout of their castle based on past reconnaissance, but when we stole the Blade of Exodus, they weren't expecting us. They know we're here now. For us, this will be a purely uphill battle.
He's right. We can no longer use the element of surprise. We had our strength and our smarts, but would it be enough?
Look at me, freaking out. I don't mean to bring down your morale. Let's change the subject, alright? Is there any wine in this place?
He looks around the room and is quickly let down.
Of course there isn't. You know, I thought it'd be a given. August is all alone, with nothing but his books and imagination. If there's any type of person who'd live off of wine, it'd be him.
Sorry, Pro. Ulric and I drank all of it.
It's a lonely life being a writer. It really is. You pour so much emotion into it that you almost run out. Everyone thinks you're giving them the cold shoulder, but you're not. Writing is art. Nobody questions the secluded painter, you know? But the second you close yourself off to write, you're troubled. So many people see it as a joke of a career choice.
I agree that writing is another form of art.
I almost let that get me down when I was younger. They told me that a writer could never make a decent living. I could have easily given up. But instead, I created a legacy.
He lets out a loud sigh.
That's what scares me. Even when I give up the swindling life, that won't be enough. Everyone will remember me for who I was, not who I am. And let's be honest, I'm not one of the good guys. I stole secrets, sold them, and ruined people's lives. Look what I did to the rebellion. That's unforgivable.
He looks away from me and shakes his head.
I think I might die during the attack, Monarch. There's no place for me in your new peaceful world. Even if I change, the harm I did will always haunt me.
No, don't say that. He turns away and I see him tremble a little in fright.
I want to help you make this world a better place, Monarch. But you don't understand how many people I've wronged in the past. If they seek revenge, they might just target you and all of my friends. And I don't want anybody to get hurt because I was a bad person. I could turn a new leaf, sure, but that doesn't mean my enemies will. If I stay by your side, you and all of our friends will always be targets.
I put a hand on his shoulder and help him turn around. So what if one of his enemies try to give us hell? We could handle it. If the rulers of the world can't take us down, how could anyone else?
You're right.
We're all one big family, in this together, until the end.
I just fear that the end is closer than we think. I don't know what I'd do if I lost any of you during the final battle. I lost my family once. How can I expect to handle that again?
I tell him not to worry and that everything would be fine. We have a solid battle plan, and I have the Blade of Exodus. There wasn't anything we could do to stand a better chance of winning.
I guess that's true. Sorry. I was just freaking out. That seems to be a running theme out there in the atrium. It's impossible to look death in the face and have no regrets. But if you want me to help you rule after this war, I will. Anything you need, I'll always be there to serve you, Monarch. Hopefully I can earn a pardon for all the laws I've broken in the past.
That would be easy. He's already done a lot to help us. He was responsible for our Alorinthian alliance, hands down. He's done his best to atone, and in my opinion, he succeeded. so I pawned him right here and now. On the dawn of our final battle, he'd become a new man. No longer a swindler, but a trusted servant of the new monarchy.
Monarch?
He looks shocked, almost in disbelief. Rather than question it, he nods, smiling.
Thank you.
I sent him off, but not before telling him one important fact. Any enemy of him is the enemy of the monarchy, and will be dealt with. He thanks me yet again, and leaves with a resolve stronger than ever before. Hey Bowser, thanks for coming! Oh, you can see the stream again? That's good. I checked OBS as soon as you said that, and thankfully the window capture is still there. Alright, let's, wait, what? Oh, I thought the red X by Pro was still there. We're good. Let's talk to Dominic next. We can still see the game? Okay, thank you. I invite Dominic over into my private room, and he looks around, astonished. Even though he's seen it before, he acts as if it's the first time. I don't blame him. This room surely is a sight to behold.
What a sight, Monarch. I assume this is where Algius would normally sleep, but he's not going anywhere in his current state. I talked to him for a while and he seems unstable. Years of serving the triumvirate will do that to you, I guess. Even after I told him what Hal was, he still lives in ignorance. Well, maybe ignorance isn't the right word. He knows what the triumvirate is and still chooses to serve them. You know, I wonder how the people will react when they find out. Algus knows and chose not to rebel or fight back. Maybe our victory here will be just the start of another battle. Not literally, of course, but we'll fight to show everyone the truth.
He shifts, almost like he's feeling a bit uncomfortable.
I have to ask you something, though. If the people don't respect your rule, what will you do? Will you work hard to earn it? Or will you demand it through fear?
I think every good ruler needs to do a mix of both.
I suppose you're right. But don't lean too heavily on the side of fear. You don't want to become the enemy we're taking down. They definitely rule through fear, Monarch, but the rebellion isn't afraid to speak up and shut them down. Sometimes using fear just inspires others to contest your rule.
He shrugs, realizing it's probably a good idea to change the subject. We need to secure victory before deciding what we do with it. It's clear that he wants to avoid talking about the upcoming battle.
It just makes me wonder who the triumvirate really is. They aren't gods. I doubt they made the Blade of Exodus. There's a chance that they're just like us, using power to achieve their goals. And they say that power corrupts. You've heard that, right? What if they were just like us in the past? What'll happen next? Will we just go on to become tyrants that the people despise?
I shake my head. We wouldn't stoop so low.
Nobody starts their journey at the peak power, Monarch. The triumvirate wasn't born into this role. They fought for it. It's even likely they took down foes of their own too. But what foe would that be? And what was their goal? What I'm trying to say is, I think the blade should be destroyed. Once we achieve our goal, we have no use for it anymore, right? If you keep it, you risk relying on its power. And I don't want to see what that does to you, Monarch. Not if it's even anything close to what it's done to our enemies. I don't see any reason to keep it around after the war is over. So tell me, if you get the chance to destroy it, will you?
Of course. I had planned to do that all along.
Good. There's no place for a weapon like that in this world. I feel like whoever wields it will be led down a dark path. I just hate to see that happen to you. I really would.
He looks away from me, sad.
I just want to know what kind of hands the world will be left in. I'm just asking you these questions because I'm scared, you know? I might not survive the battle. I might not live to see your reign.
That much was true. Even my survival wasn't guaranteed.
I'd hate for us to die, especially after how far we've come. But we're about to fight the triumvirate. It's a real possibility. All we can really do is ensure that we fight with no regrets. Now, I have my fair share of regrets, that much is certain. But with your help, I'd like to put some of them to rest. I've been wanting to for a while, but I'm just scared.
Scared? I think I know what he's getting at.
You know, shaking a hand is such a simple thing. Yet I cower in fear whenever somebody offers it to me. Even the thought of it is enough to fill me with anxiety. But you know what? So does fighting the triumvirate. Despite that fact, I'm standing strong and ready to fight. So, what do you say? To the fall of the triumvirate?
He holds out his hand, and I can see it shaking. I ask him if he's sure. This is a big deal, after all.
Of course I'm sure. It's time to get over this silly fear. You know, we'll be dealing with a lot of people after this is over. Not being able to shake the hands of our subjects, that's not good. After all we've been through, I just think you deserve the honors. And I can think of no better toast than a toast to the fall of our enemies. So, like I said, let's do this and move forward as a stronger people.
Yeah, as stronger people. I shake his hand with a firm grip. If he was scared, he doesn't show it.
This is all thanks to you, Monarch. It really is. You told me to leave behind those memories of my past. At first I thought it would dishonor the memory of my mother. But I'm not forgetting about her. I could never do that. I'm just forgetting about the pain I felt on that fateful day. And with that gone, I can handle anything that comes my way.
He leaves the room with the biggest smile on his face. I know that this was a big step for him, and he's incredibly proud. If he used that pride on the battlefield, then our enemies stood no chance. Just like he said, the triumvirate would fall, and we would be victorious. Dominic is definitely, another one of my favorite characters in this game. He solidified it with that brilliant strategy against the ships in the last stream. Yeah, I'm so glad I chose him to be our strategist and our right-hand man over Howl. Alright, let's talk with Valessa next. I invite Valessa into my room, since she seems unable to get to sleep. That seems to be the case with almost everybody. We were too worried to sleep. She scans the room, taking in all the sights. It really was an impressive place to behold.
This room is pretty cool, Monarch. Makes sense that you'd get it too. Must feel good, being royalty and all. I'm pretty confident. After hearing Domic's plan, I get to follow you to the castle too, so that makes me happy. You can trust me to have your back if anything bad happens.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I've been practicing with those daggers I got from Mazeo, actually. They took some getting used to, but I think I can hold my own. Not that those suits of armor require much to take down.
It's true, they were pretty weak. The triumvirate focused on quantity, not quality. Hopefully that would be their downfall as we proceed.
To be honest, I'm really scared that we might not survive. I mean, victory usually comes at a cost, but what will we pay? If I make it out of this without my friends, I'll just feel so hollow. Especially since I'm expected to lead Valinworth after all this is over. Without you and Fortem, I just feel so lost in this world. You give me strength, and I'll be needing that strength.
I tell her that I'm not planning on going anywhere. Whatever comes next, we'd handle it as a team. We didn't come this far just to perish in the end.
I really need to stop thinking so far ahead. This is the eve of our final battle. I should focus on that. Getting lost in thought on the battlefield would be the death of me. So, let's just enjoy this moment, shall we? This might be the last time we're able to hang out. I hate to tarnish it by freaking out and acting stupid.
I tell her that it's fine. I enjoy your company regardless. Besides, I'm sharing a lot of the same worry. We're in this together. When we meet up to launch the attack, we'd have no idea what came next.
Well, at least I don't feel so alone anymore. Fortum is always so carefree, no matter what happens. Talking to him, you'd never guess that we could all die here. Before I stop being so gloomy, can you promise me one thing? It'll make me feel a lot better, and morale is what we need right now.
I nod, but it's really dependent on what the favor entails.
If I do end up dying out there, I just want Valinor to be okay. Can you promise me that you'll find a capable elder to replace me? They don't have to share my views. I just want our home to prosper.
I nod. That's definitely something I could do for her. That is, if I survived. But I don't display such doubt right now. It's best that I try to look strong and resolute for all my allies.
Good. Then we can move on to better things. You know, I've been thinking about how far we've come. I've seen so much, and I feel like a totally different person. I wonder what would have happened if things were different. What if your induction ceremony wasn't canceled? What if you never got that deceiving vision? Who would we be if not for all that's happened so far? I mean, we were simple residents of Valinor just a while back, but now we stand in Beltaeus, ready to fight the rulers of the world. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it unfold right in front of me. But, you know, I'm not sure which version of myself I'd rather be. It's not an easy thing, knowing how twisted the world truly is.
That's a tough call. I don't know which version of myself I'd rather be either. It makes me think back on where I started and where I am right now. Putting the whole journey into perspective, I realize how I've changed.
Obviously, we can't go back and change anything, but it's just weird to think about. And it was all out of our control. Let's hope that after this, we can take things in the direction we want. The people will be free to live as they please. They'll never have to lose their homes or comply with tyrants. If that's the end goal here, then I'd say our changing was worth it.
Thinking on it that way, I agree. I'm just glad we haven't changed too much. With how great things can get during war, some people commit atrocities. I can't tell if this is another typo or not, because that does not flow good. Oh, I do my best to be a just ruler, even if I wouldn't be able to please everybody.
Thank you so much for inviting me over, Monarch. I feel a lot better than I did just a few minutes ago. I guess I'll see you when we gather to launch the attack.
I nod. That time was fast approaching. I see you out of the room and let out a huge sigh. Talking to my friends for maybe the last time? It's crushing me. But if I didn't, and they perished, I'd regret it forever. That's the excuse I give myself for enduring this pain. Turning to face the big open room, I wonder what's next. What's next is talking to Fortem. A knock sounds on my door, and I open it without hesitation. Fortem is there. He looks a bit upset, so I invite him inside. Looking around the room, he lets out a loud and anxious sigh.
I'm gonna be honest, Monarch. I'm scared. Terrified. I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, climbing the Triumvirate's castle? That's insane. Not to mention that the entire battle hinges on my success. I have those metallic claws, but I don't know how much that'll help. Their castle is probably made of stone, like this library is.
He starts pacing around the room with extreme worry.
What if I fall? What if I get shot by an arrow? If anything gets in the way, I might not be able to do this. I require extreme focus, you know. This is too much.
I can imagine that climbing during a battle is hard. Normally, the only danger he'd have to worry about is falling off. But doing this, he'd be a huge target for any archers nearby.
Sorry to come here in panic like this. It could end up being our last night together after all. There are probably way better ways to spend it than this.
He stops pacing around and stops right in front of me. Taking slow breaths, I can tell he's trying to calm down. I let him have his time, and he's back to normal pretty fast.
You know, I've been thinking about what I should do after the war. And I think I want to move to Museo. I want to help the nation reform. It's been hurt so much, even by our parents. It deserves happiness.
Oh, I guess we did fill him in on our parents being pirates.
Valessa has her calling as the next elder of Valenorth. I'd be your scribe, if visions weren't becoming a thing of the past. At the end of the day, it seems like the smartest choice for me to make. That is, if I don't die during the battle tomorrow. I know what you're gonna say. Don't worry, you'll be fine. I wish that were true. But it's not. We need to be realistic here. There's a chance that we could lose this war tomorrow. There's a chance that all of us could die. A really big chance. We're not immortal. We need to face the facts, not live in denial. They're all out here in the atrium with so much confidence. But I know that deep down inside, they're scared too. We all have something we're afraid of, you know?
He steps forward and gives me a quick hug. Returning it, I squeeze him before the hug is broken.
You know, it's not death that scares me, Monarch. It's the thought of never seeing my friends again that hurts me. I don't want to lose anybody. I've never been this scared in my life.
I tell him that I'm not planning on going anywhere. After the war, we'll all be together, living peacefully.
You can't be certain of that, though. Just like I can't be certain that I'll survive. All we can do is try, and hope for the best. So promise me one thing. No heroics, okay? No grand acts of sacrifice. No trading your life. This world needs you after the war. We all need you.
Yeah, I agree, and tell him that I'll try my best to comply. We're almost at the end. It feels surreal to me.
I guess we'll find all of this out in a few hours anyway, right? It's almost sunrise, and the battle shouldn't be too long. Let's change the subject. I've worried enough.
He strikes a thinking pose and remains silent for a few moments.
Oh, here we go! If we win, we'll have a huge party. A party that the world will talk about forever. We can give everybody Mazayan apples.
Oh, I smile, being happy that he's happy. I tell him that we will have the biggest party the world has ever seen. And if we try our best and work together, we'll win this battle with ease.
Sweet! Then I can't wait. I'll let you get back to what you were doing, Monarch. This isn't goodbye after all. We'll be seeing each other again for sure.
He leaves my room with a smile, a direct counterpart to how he entered. That brings me a sense of ease. We need to have a clear head right now. It's almost time for the attack. I should make wise use of this time I have left. Oh, that was wholesome. Fortem and Valessa, honestly, it's not left the best. No, honestly, did not stand out to me more than other characters, but I like them. They're likable, they're loyal. I love Fortem's contagious optimism, and I like how nice Valessa is. They're good friends. Okay, all that's left is Hal's scene. As I'm browsing random books, I hear a knock on my door. It's Hal. I let him in and ask him how things are going. I don't know why I asked. It's clear what the answer was.
They all worry. They fear that death will come for them. An understandable fear, however. This is the end of our journey. We will face more danger than ever before as we move forward. Algus, however, isn't making things any easier. He plants seeds of doubt in many of our soldiers, Monarch. Words are a writer's greatest weapon. A gag would be effective.
It's unclear if this is a joke, but it gets a smile from me regardless.
He says that we are the true enemy, the monarchy. He says that if you knew the truth of our people, you would run. You would no longer fight for us, as we endangered innocent worlds. It is not true, however. His mind has been twisted beyond repair. But many soldiers are starting to doubt. What if he is telling the truth? Could they save their lives by switching sides in the final moments?
That is unacceptable. We couldn't afford any turncoats.
The monarchy made mistakes, as any group of people do. Like Dominic said, mistakes are how we learn and grow. Bad choices, while bad, are our right as people to make. They cast us aside in a prison, taking away our ability to choose. And in doing so, they took away our ability to live in freedom. No matter our crimes, this punishment is far too severe.
I agree, and I could never be turned against the monarchy. Triumvirate imprisoned them because they endangered worlds? A hypothetical thing to say, as they hurt Alestia at the very same time. Hypocritical,
But
I mean.
we must say, it was a battle that we lost fair and square. We was so focused on our own future that we lost sight of everyone else's. It doesn't surprise us that our perfect future came at the expense of others. If it leads to happiness in the end, how can you decide what cost is too high? This is the line that all tyrants seem to walk in the early days of their rule. Many have fallen to the wrong side, Monarch. We trust that you will not.
I nod. I don't see myself stooping to the level of the enemy anytime soon.
We know that Dominic wishes to gift all this knowledge to the people. These books capture almost the entire history of the monarchy. This may not be a good idea. They may read of our mistakes. And those mistakes may just inspire future insurrections. We think it may be best to destroy the monarchy entirely, burn these books, and remove the spirits from this body.
Wait, what? That was certainly extreme.
These books shouldn't exist at all, Monarch. We don't know why the triumvirate keeps them lying around. If our oppression was their goal, then they should have destroyed them. Right now, they exist as a testament to our imprisonment. As long as they remain intact, they will be only a harmful memory. They should be destroyed. Allow my people and our history to rest.
This is all coming out of nowhere, but it makes sense. He is the monarchy embodied. This must be a horrific sight for him. His entire culture is stolen, imprisoned just like him and his people. Oh, it's okay, Bazuke. Storms are, out of your hands.
This is why we ask that you look toward the future, Monarch. Do not concern yourself with who we were, or what we were like. Order this library to be destroyed. Live life on your own terms.
I don't know what to say, so I just stare at him in silence.
This started back during our journey into Eastcrown. This body could not survive the cold. The spirits inside helped, but in doing so, they died. We are weaker than we were back then. Weaker, but more in tune with everything around us. Almost like a weight was lifted from our shoulders. We would like you to lift this weight even further. Please, use that blade. Absorb the souls inside of us. Leave one behind, and let us feel what it is like to be alive. After the weight is gone from our shoulders, lift it from the world.
He looks around the room to the various books scattered about.
You must absorb these souls and destroy the books. Only then will the monarchy be truly removed from history, as our mind will be better for it. So too will the world itself.
I don't know how to respond to what he's asking of me. Also, Dominic said earlier that we should destroy the Blade of Exodus and move on from the monarchy. One of the two of them talked about that before talking with me. So he wants me to commit mass genocide against the monarchy? This is all happening so fast. I'm unsure of how I should respond.
You would not be killing us. We have long since been dead. It would be an act of mercy upon a group of oppressed people. We can no longer live. The triumvirate stole that right from us. But if you can take our spirits and use it to power the blade, maybe it will give you the edge you need to win this yourselves. We may have lost, but that doesn't mean you need to, as well. These spirits may linger, and the books may remain, but the truth of it is, we're dead. We need to be buried. Our very existence is born from a denial of that death. If you leave one soul, we will use this body to fight for you. We may fall in combat, but nothing of value would be lost. We cannot help our own people, so we must help yours.
I knew that eventually we'd have to tackle the nature of his existence, but I didn't expect to be confronted with it on the eve of the final battle. He wants to accept defeat, have the souls removed, and books destroyed. If I did that, there'd be no physical remains of the monarchy. I had spirits inside of me, but I was still my own person, able to live free. We're talking about the extinction of an entire group of people. I don't know.
We understand if this is too much to ask, Monarch, but we think this is the right course of action for everybody. Don't be scared to hurt us. You cannot harm what is already dead. The spirits would be more useful in the blade than this body. But like we said, one can remain to aid you in fighting. What do you say, Monarch? What will you do?
Wait, oh no! Oh no, is this an important choice? What if we lose him if I remove the spirits? What if I'm too weak for... But... What if... I'm gonna make a save. I really don't know what I should do. I don't think Howl is gonna be around even if he survives. So... maybe the outcome will be the same, whether I do this or not. Well, Howl, if If that's what you wish, I'll do it. I agree to grant him his request. I need this blade as strong as possible for the coming battle. His people may be lost, but they can still help us win this war.
Thank you, Monarch. Do not worry about the books. We will talk to Domic. But know that you made the right choice, and rest easy.
With a nod, I take out the blade and hold it to his chest. It responds to my will, so I do my best to envision Hell's request, leaving one soul to inhabit the body and use the rest to power the blade. I close my eyes and try my hardest to make his dream a reality. After a while, he takes a deep breath, and he seems a bit different. The blade didn't seem to activate, but I guess I did what I needed to.
Thank you. You did the right thing. If you'll excuse us, we have more to take care of. The final battle looms. There is much for all of us to do.
I nod and see him out of my room. I didn't expect to settle this one-on-one. Maybe part of me wanted the input of others? However, I think things turned out for the best. If we maintained the secrecy, nobody would ever know. I helped him, and he helped me. I was stronger than ever before. I better not regret that choice. I'm gonna make a separate save now. Alright, that's all the loyalty scenes. Would you like to end the journey? Gosh. Honestly... no, I'm worried about the outcome, but I am cautiously optimistic. Yeah. Time for Journey's End. I descend the stairs of the Grand Library, the crisp Baltean air assaulting me. I shiver and stand in disbelief at how uninviting this city seems to be. If this is where I'd sit in the throne, we need to change a lot. Looking around the area, it appears that everybody is here. I try to take a head count just to make sure that's correct. This was the final attack. We needed all of our might. I see Domic shaking hands with the Monarch vessels. Good, they helped us secure victory and survived. They would be a valuable asset in holding the town square. It was nice to see their full potential finally realized. With their incredible resilience, they outspotted an enemy horde. It was in this exact moment that I knew I made the right choice. When I make it to the bottom of the stairs, Domic waves me over. Our forces run around, seemingly taking on an infinite number of tasks. Everybody is doing something. It made everything seem more final. I could tell that this was the last time I'd see a lot of these people. There was no way we'd make it through this without any casualties. Trying to tune out the final preparations, I make my way to Domic.
Good to see you, Monarch. I'm afraid there isn't much time to talk. We can't deny it. The attack has begun. The Honor Guard should realize that we're here momentarily. After that, this area and the town square will be a war zone. Anybody who has an objective elsewhere should be leaving.
Just as he says that, Pro walks by. Domic calls out his name, and he quickly runs over. That's right, he was tasked with causing a distraction in the castle.
Hey, Domic, I was just about to leave.
And you have everything you need?
Yes, of course. You know me. I'd never forget anything. You're in for the distraction of a lifetime, Monarch.
He smirks at me, a confident, cocky smirk. If he followed through, then I'd find no resistance. It should be smooth sailing when we get to the castle.
Hey, Pro. Before you go,
He holds out his hand and it trembles softly.
it's been an honor serving with you. I hope I see you again after this is over.
He shakes Domic's hand with a firm grip.
Trust me, the pleasure has been all mine. And I don't plan on dying. Too much riding to do.
The handshake is broken and they give each other uneasy smiles. The kind of smile that acknowledges they may never see each other again. And soon after that, Pro was on his way, off to face his fate directly and unafraid.
I guess you should get going too, Monarch. Don't worry, I have more protection than I'll ever need. Our rebel forces, the Monarch vessels, and the Draconic army. No matter what they throw at us, we'll be able to handle it. The true deciding factor in all of this is you and that blade. Be careful, rely on your comrades, and you'll win this for sure.
He places a hand on my shoulder.
I know you can do this. Now we just need to cause a distraction. All those suits should be focusing on me. If all goes as planned, you should find minimal resistance. Save your strength for the triumvirate. I think you'll need it. Anyway, don't worry about me. I'll have Hal by my side.
He looks around, confused and worn on his face.
Speaking of which, where is he? He should have been out here ages ago.
Before I can even respond, I hear a loud cracking noise. Turning to see the source, I see the door to the library smashed open. Algus is shoved through, landing face first on the stone, still tied up. That must have hurt. Smoke billows out of the open door as Hal exits the library. Algus struggles on the ground, squirming like some sort of insect. A blaze as bright as the sun itself makes Hal look like a silhouette.
Hal, what are you doing?
Upon hearing Dominic, he steps forward and grips Algus by the hair. Raising him to his knees, he looks down in horror at our massive army. It was almost as if, in that moment, he knew he was on the wrong side.
We've come here to destroy the triumvirate and all that they stand for. Don't tell us you're backing down now that the moment is upon us.
We all stare in awe as Hal pulls out a dagger, holding it in his free hand. The smoke and the bright illumination reveal to us one frightening fact. Hal had torched the inside, burning the books and his culture.
No, of course not. I would never give up when we're so close. Come down here, Hal. Explain yourself.
Hal shakes his head, disobeying Dominic's order. Running the dagger along Algus' throat, he then kicks him down the stairs. A trail of blood follows him all the way down, steaming against the cold snow.
The monarchy is dead, Dominic. Do not cling to memories like us.
He slowly descends the stairs, the crimson dagger dripping blood. As the flames shoot out the front door, Hal's face is finally lit up. It appears devoid of all feeling, even after what we had done.
Howl, stand down.
Dominic immediately draws his sword, holding it towards Howl.
Stand down? All we've done is carry out our orders. Kill the triumvirate and their supporters, correct? As their servant, Algus deserves the same fate.
Dominic's arm trembles, realizing Hal was right.
And we needed a beacon to lure the honor guard to the square. A beacon that no matter how hard they try, they cannot put out. Burning the library made sense. They are not permitted inside.
See, I didn't panic yet because I had a feeling that was part of the plan to lure the honor guard. So, good idea, Hal.
Do not mourn for what has already been lost, Dominic. The honor guard will be here in just a few moments. Preparing your army would be a much better action.
Hal throws the dagger onto the ground.
The battle for Alestia has begun.
Dominic lowers his sword, letting out a loud sigh. Hal was right. Algus served the enemy, making him an enemy. And the beacon was paramount to our success. It could not be put out. No, I'm good, Minotaur. The thing about games like this, I want to make the choices and see where the end result takes me. I want to see what my genuine choices leads, instead of focusing on the good ending. That way, the journey feels more personal.
I don't believe this.
Hal finally makes it to our location and stands beside us. He shrugs, almost like this isn't a big deal at all.
Drastic measures must be taken in order to ensure our victory. The righting of a long-dead culture is a small price to pay. You should be on your way, Monarch. The time is now.
He's right. I had to make my way to the castle. If I used the mountain pass, I should find the little resistance. Every suit of armor would soon be on their way to the library.
Do not forget Sovi, either. He volunteered to accompany your group. Make use of the knowledge he has on Baltius.
I nod. This is happening so fast, but I could waste no time. We knew this was coming. We knew we'd have to take action. I start to walk away, but Dominic calls out to me a moment later.
Hey, be careful, okay? I want to see you there when we regroup in the atrium. If all goes as planned, you'll be seeing me there too.
I smile and nod. That would have to suffice as a goodbye. After I gather up Valessa, Ulric, Fortem, and Sovi, we head out. If we hurried, we could get through the town square before the suits came. In our haste, we say almost no words to one another. There was a silent agreement that the task at hand was more important. And knowing that any word could be our last, silence seemed more appropriate. Here we go. Aelin knelt before his masters, more eager to serve than he had ever been before. He looked up at them, awaiting their orders, perhaps the final orders they'd give. It would be up to him to lead the honor guard and ensure their victory today.
Right, Aelin. It seems they seek to deceive us. But it's nothing we haven't seen before.
Deception? That seems to be their strength. What will you have me do, masters?
Man the atrium. Stay in the castle. We shall let them exhaust their forces for now. When they come here, you can finish them off.
You mean to fall into their trap?
Doing so would make it our trap, Halen. Besides, their deaths will feed the blade even more. We need it as strong as possible when it is brought back to us.
Oh no. I think we made a mistake.
For what reason?
Do you doubt us?
No, of course not. I was merely curious, that's all.
Then your curiosity will have to linger. You have your orders, Halen. Now see them out. In a few hours, everything should be over for good.
Aelin wondered, but for what side?
Yes, whatever you say. When they arrive in the atrium, consider them dead. I will paint the walls with their blood, or else besmirch them with my own.
Thank you, Halen. Now be on your way. We will send the honor guard to the town square to weaken them. There is no time to waste. The end of everything is upon us.
Without a word, Halen is off on his way. In this moment, he truly became the Grand Inquisitor. Last line of defense between the triumvirate and a weak insurrection.
The end. Or perhaps another new beginning. Steel yourselves, brothers. You know what's coming.
They all look at each other and nod. For the first time in ages, doubt fills their chambers. Thankfully, nobody was there to witness such a fault. Oh. Pro enters the Triumvirate's castle, careful not to gather unwanted attention. The staircase in the middle is the one that led up to their chambers, for sure. This meant he'd have to lure the honor guard off to the left or right side. Paths on either side of the stairs led to other sections of the castle. If he had to guess, he'd say that they led to living quarters or practice rooms. Much like his luck, a horde of honor guards was gathered at the base of the stairs.
Alright, alright. How can I lure them away? Think, Pro, think. You can do this.
He examines the area, noticing large metallic stands holding lit candles. That would be sure to cause a distraction. But how would he use it? His eyes are drawn to large stained glass windows lining the hall.
That'll have to do. Hopefully the monarch isn't too far away. I won't be able to keep them occupied forever.
Pro grabs one of the metallic stands and shakes off the candle. It falls to the ground, the wax shattering in almost every direction. Wasting no time, he causes as big of a commotion as he can.
Hey! Over here!
He shatters one of the windows by thrusting the candle holder through it. The honor guard looks over and immediately begins walking towards Pro. With a quick smirk, he laughs at how easily he was able to carry out his goal.
Perfect. Now just to make a trail. Come on! Don't let me get away!
He runs down the hallway, shattering window after window. A trail of broken glass is left behind for the suits to follow after. However, he moves slow on purpose, keeping an eye on the horde. Hey Brad, good to see you again. How short is this? I'm 20 hours into the game. I did a lot of the side content, I found all the books, I did everyone's heart-to-hearts and loyalty scenes. This is how far it took me to get to the finale. Oh, good luck, Pro. So, yeah, I'd say I'm satisfied with the game's playtime. A long but not too long story with great characters, a great story. I'm cautiously optimistic that I made the right choices for everyone to survive. Hal and Dominic stand side by side in the town square of Balteus. They can hear the sound of the honor guard marching to their location. Echoes of steel grating against steel assault their ears as they wait.
How many do you think there are?
Not enough.
Well, at least you're confident.
Dominic brushes some ash off of his shoulder. Remnants of the books from the library filled the air. From behind, one of their allies steps forward.
They're almost here. I can tell. Be on your guard. I'll have my men protect you.
Yes, of course, I appreciate it. I'll be watching their backs as well.
Now, all three of them were standing side by side. The footsteps of the honor guard got louder and louder. They stepped in unison, sounding like a heart that beat too fast.
Reminds me of those drums in the Colosseum. Every time they played, I knew that death would follow. Let's hope that it does, but not for any of us.
If we are in danger, do not come to our aid. Especially if it would endanger the lives of others. Remember, by all accounts, we are already dead.
Vivian shakes his head.
No matter what you say, you're an ally. And believe it or not, I prefer to keep those alive. As long as you breathe, you're living and of use.
As they talk, the first of the honor guard comes into view. One stood in front of the rest, as if assigning themselves the role of leader. It was odd, they all thought, that such mindless suits have a sense of hierarchy. However, there was no time to think about such trivial things. Mere moments later, the rest of the suits gathered behind their leader. On the other side of the town square, it seemed like thousands had arrived.
It appears that we may be outnumbered. But remember, those things aren't known for their smarts. Each one of us could easily take down 100 or more.
Let's hope that you're correct.
Dominic gulps and draws his sword. Everybody behind him does the same, and the sound fills the town square. Even from the opposing side, all they can hear is the unsealing of blades. But when everybody is on, nothing happens. They stand on opposite sides, both forces staring at each other. Dominic looks left and right to his allies before speaking out.
It appears they want us to make the first move. Probably so they can counter. That makes it easier. Just anticipate it, and come up with a counter of your own.
Even after this instruction, nobody makes a move. The ashes in the air thickens, remnants of the monarchy showering over them. Dominic takes a few steps forward and holds his sword up in the air.
We fight to liberate those stuck under the triumvirate's thumb, in the name of all those who have fallen, and all those who will come. A new future will dawn here today, one of happiness and peace for all.
The soldiers cheer, holding their swords up in the air as well. But soon after, they fall back down, resting in a fighting position. Dominic says nothing, simply holding his sword towards the enemy. And that was enough to spring the army into action. Charging towards the honor guard, steel soon clashes against steel. Screams fill the town square as both sides meet and clash in the middle. Dominic and Hal remain behind everybody, watching the initial charge. They'd wait for an ample opening and join their army at the right time. Hal places a hand on Dominic's shoulder and gives him a soft nod.
Dominic, it is time.
In response, he gulps and looks up at Hal.
Yeah. This is it.
He catches a bunch of falling ash in his hand. After looking at it for a moment, he crushes it in a fist.
Charge!
And mere seconds later, they were lost in the crowd. Godspeed, you two. Oh, wow, that looks so cool. We arrive at what seems to be the summit of the mountain pass. Though we took the long way around, I could still hear fighting in Balteus. Swords clashing against swords, and the screaming of agony found only in war. We all spread out as soon as we arrived in the same spot. I was a bit ahead of everyone else, so I let them catch up. When they do, Zoe decides to approach me for a chat.
We're almost there. It won't be much longer. As soon as we turn the next corner, you'll see the castle. This is probably the best place for Fortem to leave our side. I know his task is dangerous, but I'm sure he'll be fine. I've heard nothing but good things about his ability to climb. I'm more worried about what will happen to us in the castle.
I shrug. There was really no way to know. Hopefully, Pro was able to cause his distraction.
I normally hate relying on others, you know. In a bind, I can only really count on my own skills. But you and your friends have started to change my mind. We're pressed for time, so I won't draw this out any longer. Just know that I'll have your back in there, as I'm sure you'll have mine. If we make it through this unscathed, I'll know it was a team effort.
I nod as Zoe turns away and starts to look around the area. It appears like he's been here before and finds great comfort in it. A few seconds later, my attention is diverted towards an ecstatic Fortem.
Whoa, this is so cool! That statue! I've never seen anything like it. Ulric, what is it? Do you have any idea?
Ulric turns to face the large, intimidating statue.
Yeah, Alestia wasn't always fully mapped out. This is an artist's depiction of the Draconic people. At least, a depiction made in fright during First Contact.
First contact?
Imagine being the first mainlander to arrive in Alarinthia. The people there reacted with hostility, attacking almost instantly. He was an unlucky man, and he fled almost as quickly as he got there.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. When he got back to Museo, he told everyone his story. But his account wasn't right. Fear can warp anything you see. Even when he was proven wrong, the design still stuck. They're often used to scare away potential visitors, so it makes perfect sense that there'd be one in a place like this. It's guarding a shortcut that leads right to the Triumvirate's home.
Well, it's not gonna scare me away. I have the most important task of all.
Ulric nods as Fortem quickly walks over to me, towards me. I can tell that he's fine, but he looks hopeful as well.
I promise you, I'll make it through this. You better be in that atrium waiting for me. No way we're failing now. This is the end.
We give each other a quick hug. Perhaps our last hug. He looks around and shakes his head with a loud sigh.
Well, I guess I should get going. I need to take a different path than the rest of you. I'm not used to being on my own, but I'll manage.
Before he heads out, he hugs Valessa. They share a few words together and then he's off on his way. His path would lead to the tower, while ours would lead directly inside.
I guess we should go too. The sound of all that fighting is really scaring me. One side has to be winning, but which one is it?
It's best not to pay it any mind. We have our own task, Valessa.
Right, of course. Wanna lead the way?
He nods and then starts walking away from us. We gather together and follow him close behind.
We're going to win this. I can feel it.
I pray with every fiber of my being that she's right. After what seems like an eternity, the triumvirate's castle comes into view. I've never been more terrified in my life. The end was finally within reach. I like how we started this journey with Valessa and Ulric, and we're together again, right at journey's end. Except, Sovi's with us. But, I like it. The castle looks just as corrupted and decaying as everything else. Almost even more so, like it could be the source of all this death. As we get closer, I look all over the exterior. Then, I see Fortem. He's climbing the tower, just as directed. It's a sight to behold. If he could get to that bell tower, then the war would surely be ours. But I see him struggling. This castle was clearly his hardest climb. With no safety nets, any slip-up would be fatal. I try not to think about it as we arrive at the bridge to the castle. Much to our dismay, the bridge is completely covered in suits of armor. They turn to face us as soon as we approach. A few seconds later, they start to march towards us. They're slow. Our presence took some time to register. Wait, capture froze? This was a veritable horde. Hundreds, maybe even 1,000. It looks fine to me. Maybe refresh, Minotaur? Actually, mine froze? Okay, thank you. I'm a little paranoid about OBS ever since yesterday. OBS lost window capture, and I was not aware of this for like 20 minutes. Anyway, it must have been another group en route to the burning Grand Library.
Stay behind me. We can use this bridge to our benefit. They can't get around us or sneak out from behind. It's almost like a funnel. It should be easy.
Me and Valessa give Ulric a firm nod. Zoe stands by his side. Oh, is this the moment I've been waiting for? A moment later, in perfect unison, they both charged into the crowd. The honor guard stood no chance, not against two former Grand Inquisitors. The suits started to crumble and fall as they fight across the bridge. Ulric's great sword and Zoe's fists kill almost 10 or more each second. However, as I look to the back, I notice a bunch of suits have bows. I shout out to Ulric and Zoe, letting them know of the danger.
I know, but don't worry, these things have bad aim. Just grab one of those suits and use them as a shield. They'll wear out their numbers by killing their own.
I suppose that's a good strategy. After I unsheath the Blade of Exodus, I step forward. My goal is to find a good opening, so I can hop in and assist them. When no such opening comes, they slay with unmatched expertise. The two fight side by side, as if they're one entity. Perfect synergy. Me and Valessa notice the archers at the back prepare to shoot.
Quick, grab one!
We both rush forward and each disarm one of the enemies. With no means to fight us back, we hold them in place. Any arrows coming our way would hit them first. A perfect plan, and that's actually what the archers were planning. Much to our shock, as the chaos on the bridge unfolds, they turn around. They're no longer aiming in our direction. They're aiming straight for Fortem!
Fortem, look out!
Her calls fall upon deaf ears. He was too far away to hear. There was no way for any of us to prevent what happened next. We let the arrows fly. Some miss, but one pierces Fortem's side? He immediately starts to lose his grip, and it appears that he may fall off. There's nothing we could do. We can't call out to him or get up there to help. I have to do something quickly. They're preparing to shoot at him again.
Quick, run along the side of the bridge. It should be wide enough to use as a path. Get back there and take out those archers.
I don't take your suggestion to heart. I have my own idea. Running forward and pushing Ulric and Sylvie out of the way, I readied my sword. They'd pay for hurting my friend. Every single one of them would pay. I thrust the blade through one of the suits, then look over at Fortem. He looks so weak and delirious. Moments later, he falls from the tower. That sight alone is enough to fill me with more rage than I've ever felt before. Activating the blade, that familiar flash of white blinds all of us. I can hear my allies struggling, as if they're still fighting while blinded. But a few seconds later, I hear nothing but the shattering of every suit of armor. As the light subsides, we're greeted to a sign of victory. Every member of the honor guard on the bridge was dead. I absorbed them into the blade, making it even stronger.
Huh?
Monarch, did you do that?
I nod. I tell them I used the emotion inside of me as a catalyst. The emotion from seeing Fortem fall, perhaps to his death. As we glance over to the tower, though, I see that I was wrong. He holds onto the edge of a window and struggles to climb inside. Oh, thank goodness! So he wanted to drop, to fall to a window and get inside to safety. I can see that his clothes are covered in blood from the arrow wound. Eventually he makes it inside and we're all relieved. For a few seconds there, it seemed like all hope was lost.
Thanks for stepping in like that. My sword arm was starting to get a little tired. Come on, let's get going. We don't have much time.
Me, Sylvie, and Ulric smile at one another. Melissa, however, has a look of shock on her face.
Oh no.
We turn to face the same direction as her. She's looking back towards the town square and the bulk of the battle. Now the horde is marching in our direction, likely attracted by the light.
Just our luck.
We all ready our weapons. We watch them walk towards us in unison. An unease fills the air. I doubt I could deactivate all of them. I only did that thanks to the surge of emotion from seeing Fortem's shot. It wouldn't be right for me to rely on something like that yet again. Part of me wanted to reach the fleeing sign and fight them off in the castle. But we had no idea what awaited us there, inside, or if Pro was even successful. Melissa steps forward, standing in front of us. She trembles, perhaps terrified of what's to come.
You need to go.
What are you talking about?
I said you need to go. Get inside the castle. Help Fortem kill the triumvirate. Just do it. Let me keep them occupied. I'll fight them off.
Valessa, that's suicide.
We don't have any other option. The Monarch needs you and Ulric.
No, I'll stay and fight. I know how those things work.
This isn't up for debate. You need to go. Now.
Sylvie backs down, realizing there's no point. Each second needed to be filled with action, not inaction. If we wasted time, we'd just hand victory over to the enemy. Melissa pulls out her mother's daggers with a gulp. I guess taking them from Isaiah was a good idea after all. My mind tells me to talk her out of this, but I say nothing. If she fought hard enough, she'd be able to survive. Those suits are weak and mindless. I feel like she'd be okay. I justify her choice in my mind, perhaps because I know it's inevitable. She wraps her arms around me and gives me a tight hug. I know this may be the last time we see each other, and it hurts. We've come so far since our time in Valinor, and changed so much.
Thanks for everything you've done, Monarch.
I tell her to stay safe and survive. A moment later, the tight hug is broken.
Oh, is that an order?
Yeah.
Then I guess I have no choice. I've never disobeyed, and I'm not about to start. I'll meet you in the atrium. after Fortum rings that bell.
And a moment later, we're both off in the opposite directions. And as we head towards the castle, I can't help but look back. I'm both worried and hopeful, and both sides are at war. I see her charge into the crowd, holding out her daggers. The sound of her stabbing the suits soon fills the air. They fall apart and hit the ground with loud thuds.
Come on! I could do this all day!
Oh, that portrait! Sorry I skipped that so fast. With a smirk on my face, I realize her victory is clear. We retreat into the castle, and the sight makes my jaw drop. The castle is hauntingly beautiful, like nothing I've ever seen before. As we venture forward, I can only hope that Pro was successful. The bell hasn't rung yet, but I have the utmost faith in Fortem's ability. I let out a deep sigh of relief. I'm here, in their castle. This is the end. Eventually, Pro's path leads him to a massive dining hall. However, much to his surprise, it also doubles as a dead end. He examines his surroundings, looking for somewhere to escape.
Damn it, there's nowhere to go.
With each passing second, the honor guard grows closer. In a panic, Pro grabs a couple knives from the table, daggers. He hadn't planned to fight, but it appears that he had no choice. The windows here were iron bars rather than stained glass. It almost makes it seem as if this room is a prison. How fitting. He takes a deep breath and waits for the suits to enter the room. And when they do, he's shocked. There's far more than before. As if they gathered up several hordes to follow him pursued. Both a bad sign and a good sign. This distraction really worked.
Is that all you could bring? I thought you'd be giving me a challenge.
He jumps on top of the table, giving him a height advantage. As the honor guard starts to climb up, he picks them off one by one. It was no problem. He just keeps this up until all of them were dead. But they kept pouring into the room, and armor covers the table and floor. They're coming too fast. He can no longer fight them off one by one. They climb the table, he suddenly fights 3 at the same time. He starts to tire, his limbs growing weak from all the fighting. But still he doesn't stop. He never gave up without winning. No one accepted defeat until the very end. Every gambler's rule. As agile as he was dexterous, fighting with daggers was second nature. But he needed more help than that at this rate. He needed some range. As the suits fall, he grabs one of their longswords to use.
Come on! Give up already! It's over!
It seems that they too follow the rule of never accepting defeat. Swords clash as Pro is soon accosted from every possible angle. A blade grazes his shoulder and blood drips down his clothing. This just urges him to fight on even further. However, the horde never seems to go down in numbers. They run into the dining hall faster than he can take them out. Soon enough, there's absolutely nowhere to go. But even as hope starts to dissipate, Pro doesn't give up. He continues fighting until the floor is a sea full of pieces of armor.
If I'm going down, then I'm taking all of you with me. Let's give those historians something to write about.
Sword is plunged through his shoulder, and he stumbles back, crying. Gritting his teeth, he pulls it out and starts using 2 swords simultaneously. As if they were an extension of his body, he fights with immense grace. The wound is pouring blood, and he starts to get lightheaded. Shaking his head, he tries to snap himself back into cognition. But a moment later, his sword is violently thrust through his side. He lets out a loud battle cry, a sort of scream. He keeps fighting on. But as made evident by his weaker swings, his time was limited.
Don't accept defeat.
He fights, almost delirious from blood loss. In a last-ditch effort to survive, he jumps off the table. If he could just fight his way to the exit, he'd survive. A fantasy brought by his deluded state, no doubt. It wouldn't have worked before, and it wouldn't work now. The white suits of armor on the ground are crimson with his blood. Moments later, something surprising happens. The honor guard spreads out, almost like they're retreating. He falls to his knees, curious as to what's going on in their minds. They see their blades as Prone kneels in a puddle of his own blood. So that's what it was. It had missing a victory and their opponent's defeat. He cries, and tries to repeat himself once more, as if it's a sort of mantra.
Don't accept.
He falls down on his side, crying and bleeding out on the floor. Don't accept defeat, at least, not until the very end. Fortunately for him, it seemed like it was.
My luck had to run out sometime.
In his final moments, he comforts himself with warm thoughts. Thoughts as warm as the pool of blood that now covered the floor. He passes on with a smile, finding happiness in the success of his task. No! No! He didn't die! He can't be dead, can he? No! I earned his loyalty! There's no way he could have died! This can't be it! Hal is completely surrounded, fighting to the best of his efforts. A one-on-one fight would be no problem, but this was too much. In total, there must be tens of thousands of honor guard here. Fighting with his fists, he punches the suits of armor into pieces. He preferred to use his own body as a weapon, rather than anything else. Other people fought with extensions of their body, but he needed none of that. One thing was for sure, he couldn't keep this up forever. With the power the monarch absorbed, he was mortal and vulnerable. However, he used that sense of dread in order to fight with more determination. Dominic was nowhere to be seen, but Hal hoped that he was still alive. There were so many suits of armor that it was impossible to keep track. One stray arrow, one thrown dagger, one sneak attack, and it was over. As he punched through the suits of armor, he finally saw an ally. Changing the direction of his assault, he fought his way towards them. Greeting him with a smile, it was a relief to see a friendly face once again.
Hal, watch out!
Vivian jumps behind Hal, taking out a suit that was sneaking up on him. Thanking his ally, Hal responded by doing the same, but behind Vivian. No matter where they stood, there was always an enemy in pursuit. Arrows fly overhead every few seconds. The enemy archers were skilled. Hal couldn't see, but he knew that those arrows hit home on his allies. With his back pressed against Vivian, their rears are finally protected.
Vivian, status report. How are your men doing?
Not good, last time I checked. There's just too many of them, Hal. All we can do is wait for that bell to ring.
And if it doesn't?
Vivian lunges forward, taking out several suits of armor. Then, a moment later, he presses his back against Hal again.
Then this is it for us.
The despair in his voice was clear. They could keep fighting, but things were looking bad. Even if each man killed 100 suits, they'd still be outnumbered. Hal shakes his head, freeing himself from the onslaught of ash. The library, still ablaze, rained remnants of the monarchy upon them. The honor guard seemed unimpeded by this, but not the rebellion. It was almost as if, when the suits fought together, they shared one mind. This caused them to be weak on their own, but formidable as a group. However, it meant that the more they killed, the weaker their enemy became.
Vivian, do not give up so easily. You are set to rule the strongest nation in the world. We cannot have you return home with stories of lost hope.
As they talk, they keep fighting, The enemy never lets up for a second.
Then we better find it again. And fast.
Arrows fly through the air once more, and screams fill the air. They knew their forces were dying. The suits had no need to scream. Hal wasn't even sure if they felt pain or feel their own demise. He wondered if those things would be a weakness or a strength. His knuckles became bloody and cracked as they fight for their lives. They continued to protect each other, fighting as if they were one body.
We need to change up our strategy. If we don't, then they'll outsmart us.
Vivian didn't respond.
Vivian?
Vivian shakes his head, panting heavily.
Sorry. It's just taking a lot out of me. I think I need to get back to the library.
Will you be okay on your own?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Will you?
Yeah, go now, while you have an opening. We will continue to fight them off.
Vivian nods and then runs off towards the library. Soon enough, he disappears into the crowd of suits. Hal's back is vulnerable once more, but he still fights. All he can do is face the enemy and his fate head on. Charging into the crowd with a scream, rage wells up within him. There are no allies to be seen, just target after target waiting to be killed. And that's what happened next. He shatters the enemies like weak glass. They fall to the ground, leaving a trail of carnage in his wake. He had killed more than his fair share and still went on. Eventually, a barrage of arrows assaults him. Piercing through his torso, it causes him to grunt in immense pain. He does his best to shake it off, but it's almost too much to bear. Now that the excess spirits were removed from his body, he was mortal. Because of that, he lets the arrows stay inside of his body. Pulling them out would be nothing short of a death sentence. So too was rushing headfirst into a horde of those suits. All of a sudden, it's harder for him to keep track of everything happening. Confusion sets in, and he starts longing for his ally to return and help him. And even if they did come back, it would arrive a moment too late. He turns around, looking for more enemies, and one is right there. They thrust their longsword deep in his gut, and he stumbles back. But then he quickly lunges forward, destroying the suit with a harsh punch. More suits crumble down around him, and miraculously, he's still fighting. It was miraculous that he was still standing. He fought on with fervor. However, the archers from before were preparing another shot. Moments later, his back is full of arrows as they hit their target. His body starts to feel numb, and he falls to his knees with a cry. The honor guard surrounds him, and he's too weak to fight back. In his current state, all he could do was stand his ground and seek mercy. And he chooses not to. He'd never accept defeat without putting up a fight. He takes out a few more suits before they start to fight back. Perhaps they were giving him a chance to surrender and accept death. However, soon such opportunity has passed and swords soon assault him. They were quick, covering Hal's entire body with wounds. He falls down on the ground, trembling from the intense pain. Blood pools around him, spilling until there's nothing left to spill. Then, the honor guard walks away, realizing they had won. Hal lays there, looking up at the sky and the steadily falling ash. It covers him. He becomes one with the remnants of his people. No! We should not have made him mortal. No. Fulton pants heavily, panicking with an arrow in his side. He knew that if he pulled it out, things would only get worse. It would be best to keep it inside until he could find some help. It wouldn't be fatal, so that gave him great relief on its own. Hiding in a spare room he found, he needed to take a breather. It was perfect timing. A suit started scurrying around outside.
It can't be too far away. How high up does this castle even go?
He shakes his head, realizing there was only one way to find out. As he goes to sneak out of the room, he bumps into a table. A bottle of wine falls off the side and shatters with an echo. His entire body tenses up as he hears the honor guard stop moving. He runs to the other side of the room and hides behind a curtain. It would have been easy to sneak around them if not for the wine. Now, every single suit of armor in that hallway would know he's here. He remains as still as possible as one of them enters the room to scout. The suit kneels down to inspect the broken glass, then looks over to the curtain. His cover was blown. He made a small trail of wine with his footsteps. He holds his breath as the suit of armor makes its way to his location. Then a few moments later, it plunges its sword right in the curtain. Fortin dodges to the left, then whips the curtain down from the wall. Wrapping it around the suit of armor, he has it in a strong chokehold. He hesitates for a few moments, and then snaps his enemy's neck. The suit crumbles, but has nowhere to fall, being held together by the curtain. He slowly rests on the ground. This was his first real fight, his first kill. If he survived to ring that bell, he knew he would never be the same. He slowly unravels the curtain and grabs the sword belonging to the suit. As soon as he does, more of them enter the room to check up on their ally. Fortin wondered if they felt emotion, if they'd mourned the suit he killed. They drew their swords, but Fortin wasn't sure what prompted it. Anger at their dead ally, or perhaps blind loyalty to the triumvirate. He'd never know, and in that moment, he realized it was for the best. Sword clashed against sword as he fought for his life. But not just his, almost everybody else's lives were at stake too. They were relying on him to ring that bell, and he couldn't let them down. All he had to do was survive. For Tim. When we get inside the castle, I notice that it's completely empty. I'm filled with hope. Pro must have been successful with his distraction. Otherwise, this place would be teeming with no suits of armor. All we had to do was make our way to the top and take them down. With the triumvirate dead and that bell rung, victory was ours. I cross my fingers, hoping that Fortin's travels are going well.
Wow. I haven't been to this place in ages. It doesn't look any different, though. Just as uninviting. We want to go right up those stairs, Monarch. This is it.
I nod. He was right. This was the end of our journey. After everything I'd been through, I was finally in their castle. I started walking towards the stairs. My next actions were clear.
Hey, not so fast. You should let me take point. I know the layout of this castle and where to go. It gets a bit confusing up there. Trust me on that.
Confusing? How so?
Lots of stairs. I hope you're okay with that. And be careful. We don't want to fall into a trap. This place is massive. It would be easy to ambush us.
Not a second later, somebody enters the room from the opposite side. It's that man from our HQ, the one with Zoe clad in white and gold. He descends the stairs, laughing at us. A horde of suits follows.
Ambush? No, I don't play cheap, not like Sovi. I'd merely like to call this a welcoming party of sorts. An ambush is unexpected. Surely you knew I'd be here.
I seized my blade and hold it out towards our enemy. There was no time to argue semantics with the likes of him. Oh, semantics. But as if to guard me, Ulric and Sylvie stepped forward, getting in the way.
Halen, don't you think it's time you gave up? You've been bound to their will, following orders for so long. Let us remove that curse. We can give you your freedom back.
Clearly an act. Sylvie wanted Halen dead. That, and he could never agree. He was under their thrall. A moment later, Halen disappears into the crowd of suits.
Freedom? Ha! I don't need freedom. I exist to serve the triumvirate, and that is final. You did too, but you threw it away in your folly.
The The suits of armor reach the bottom of the stairs, but Halen is nowhere to be seen. We just hear his voice. He must have used the confusion of the crowd to escape.
You stand in the realm of gods now. It is time you spoke with your resolve. If it is strong enough, then you will find me.
The honor guard draws their swords as Halen's laughter fills the room.
And if it is not, then you will perish. So do it. Show me the determination of your rebellion. Speak against your gods and see how they answer.
At Halen's command, the honor guard charges in our direction. Sylvie and Ulric are the first to fight, making sure that I'm protected. When I make sure to play my part, I take them down with similar ease. The suits of armor stand no chance against the Blade of Exodus, or my mate, or our ally. The same could be said of Ulric's great sword and Sylvie's fists. Yeah, I'm confident in our victory, but I try not to get too cocky. It seemed like there were almost 1,000 suits of armor here. While we were doing good now, our bodies could easily weaken. A viable tactic: wear out your enemy with excessive numbers. As we fight, we find ourselves surrounded more and more. The honor guard seems to have almost herded us to a specific location. I stand back to back with Sylvie and Ulric, and we're all panting heavily.
Ulric, put away your sword.
Huh?
Don't you remember?
They both look at me.
Yeah, of course.
He sees his massive blade as the suits close in on us.
Monarch, open your mind to us. Treat us as extensions of your body.
I'm confused, but I nod. We need to take action, and now. I lunge forward and destroy one of the suits.
Good. Now it's my turn.
Then, the blade moves from my hand to Sylvie's. He does the same as me and destroys several suits. As if passing a baton, Ulric is up next, swinging the blade.
It's been too long, Sylvie.
Then, almost instantaneously, it's back in my hands. I keep fighting. We're pressed back to back, exchanging the blade with our power. Using it from person to person as needed, we're almost one mind.
Yes, really gets my blood boiling.
As if it's an intricately choreographed dance, we continue to fight. In this moment, we really did command the blade. We were its owners. I feel unstoppable, but then I realize, could the triumvirate do this as well? If they could, then we're in for a difficult fight.
Over here!
I let Ulric take the blade, and we continue passing it around. It isn't much longer until the horde is thinned out. We're winning. This is true teamwork, like anything I've seen in my entire life. This is all I've wanted, to be side by side with Ulric and fighting together.
Monarch, look out!
I take back the blade and destroy the suits in front of me. The numbers have easily halved in just a few short minutes. At this rate, we'd be free to take those stairs at any second.
They mean to kill us with mindless slaves. I wish they had the courage to meet us face to face.
The triumvirate must have been scared. I could feel it. In the end, all tyrants have left to do is cower and fight. Whatever game they were planning, it would soon be over. We continue our dance until the last suit of armor has fallen. Though we were reduced to exhausted messes, we had won. Taking deep breaths, we try and regain our composure.
So, up we go?
Yeah.
I phase the blade back into my hands and sheath it. Looking towards the stairs, it seems our next goal is clear. When we got up there, we'd make him regret taunting us. We make our way up the stairs, in pursuit of Halen. After what just happened, I was certain we'd win this. With all strength combined, nothing could stand in our way. The first thing I see is stairs. Lots of stairs. They lead upwards, and in every conceivable direction. I know I was told there'd be lots of stairs, but this is insane. The second thing I notice is the complete lack of Halen. Had he fled up those staircases? Where could he be? Actually, I'm starting to wonder how he disappeared like that. If he was made from the blade, could he be around as well? I hope that's not the case. That would prove far too tricky. However, due to his loyalty, I know we'd be in for a fight. Destroyed suits of armor and their swords lined the floor. This must have been the remnant of a previous fight. Perhaps Fortim or Pro came here before us.
Be careful, Monarch. Try not to let Halen steal the blade from you. Remember, we all possess the same ability.
Yeah, make sure to be on your guard. We killed his suit, so he's probably scared. I wouldn't be surprised if he resorts to trickery.
I nod. That was good advice. I take it to heart as we walk towards the stairs. We hear Halen's voice, but can't see him at all.
Well then, perhaps you're stronger than I thought. No matter though. I've been waiting for a worthy opponent. I'll savor killing you, Monarch. Every single moment.
That's when I finally see him. On one of the many flights of stairs. He's slowly making his way down, almost as if he's buying some time. I move to meet him halfway, but suddenly there's no need to move at all.
Monarch, look out!
Oh no. No. Almost instinctively, I lower myself as close to the ground as possible. From behind, a massive sword is swung. It came close to removing my head. I turn around, greeted to the side of Halen, so he can move around like that.
Saved by your friends, as always. I wonder how you'd handle things on your own. What do you say? Want to put that to the test?
Ulric steps forward, interrupting before I can respond.
We don't have time for your games, Halen. We will give you one chance. Surrender or die.
And who says you get to call the shots? Remember, I exist to manifest the Triumvirate's will, and right now, what they want is to see you all dead.
Halen draws another sword, holding out two large blades.
I've never let them down, and I don't plan on starting. You think you're special? That you're here to seize your destiny? No, you're nothing more than another insect for me to crush. You may have made it farther than most, but it doesn't matter. Even atop the highest mountain, an insect is still an insect. A being that exists for one purpose. To be exterminated!
He tosses towards me, and I do the same. Pulling out the blade of Exodus, our swords clash as we meet. They meet again, and again, the echo filling the room as we fight. His strength is astounding, as well as his speed. I've never seen a man fight with two swords quite so gracefully. He tries to trick me with fake swings and sudden movements. But he'll have to try harder than that. I counter him with ease. This dance continues, and we show no signs of tiring out. At this rate, death would come to whoever slipped up first. But I can't slip up. I have to win and take down the triumvirate. This would belong to me. This world belonged to me. I was the rightful heir to the throne. Halen was just a lackey to some power-hungry group of three. If there was any justice in the world, then I would prevail. Perhaps I let that get to my head. Allows Halen to land a blow. Thrusting his blade into my shoulder, he twists it, then pulls it out. It was a wound that would prove to be harmless in the long run. The pain is so intense, all I can do is stand there, stiff and motionless. My blood drips to the floor, and I take a few steps back, losing balance.
Monarch!
So he lunges forward and pushes me to the ground. Raising the blade into his hands, he blocks Halen's next attack. I bleed on the floor as I watch Zoe fight his former apprentice.
There's something different about you, Sophie. Where was this passion when we worked together?
Swords continue to clash, and Halen is right. I've never seen Zoe quite so determined.
The Triumvirate doesn't allow passion, Halen. They take everything away. They bleed you dry and offer nothing in return, nothing but empty words. The rebellion gave me a place in this world. I belong to them now.
You mean they seduced you with flights of fancy? You honestly believe that he is our rightful ruler?
Sophie nods.
Without a doubt, I'd give my life for the monarch. I know the truth of the spirit realm. The triumvirate told me. This isn't some dream or fantasy. They told me themselves.
Halen seems surprised, as if he still trusts Sophie.
You mean?
Yes, that's what they told me before we left from Azeo. It's why I didn't kill the monarch when I had the chance. I told myself I'd never harm those in charge of this world. That's what separates the both of us, Halen. My loyalty is to Alestia. Yours is to the triumvirate. They made you a slave, with no choice but to obey.
No, I want to serve them. Your faith was challenged, and you gave up. I'm not that weak. I stand tall and remain in line.
Sophie lowers the blade, signaling his intent to stop fighting.
Then let the monarch remove the curse they've put on you. If you still want to serve them, then we can continue to fight. And if not, then you'll realize that you were wrong all along.
Halen reacts with anger to that last part and charges towards Sophie. They're fighting again, just when things started to turn around.
No, I'm not wrong. I'll never give up, Sophie. Never. If you want to pay with your life, then I'll accept that toll. But know this. It brings me no pleasure to...
And a moment later, Sophie thrusts the blade through Halen's gut. Sophie looks horrified as he harms his former apprentice and friend. No turning back. This was the exact moment his defection was complete.
Sophie.
Halen grunts in pain as Sophie removes the blade. A horrific wound, but I don't think it would be enough. Created from the blade, Halen was surely resilient.
Halen, I'm sorry. I didn't want it to be this way.
I can hear such sadness in his voice. He's conflicted. Looking down at the floor, Sophie shakes as he watches Halen bleed out. A moment later, he falls forward and Sophie catches him in his arms. On the verge of tears, Sophie turns Halen around. Lowering him to the ground, he puts him in a strong chokehold. Halen struggles, trying to escape, but the wound rendered him too weak.
Monarch, do something! I don't care what it is, just do it!
I look over at Ulric and he watches in shock. I know that wound wouldn't kill Halen, just temporarily incapacitate him. Sophie must have known, but the sight and what he did was still too much for him. There's no way Halen could fight back right now. I could kill him with no difficulty at all, but I could also save him. If I remove the curse on his mind, maybe he'd serve our cause instead. But was that worth the risk? Something tells me I don't have much time to decide. If Sophie held him like that for too long, he'd be dead for sure. What should I do? Remember, Chad, no spoilers, please. I'm gonna think about it and then make the decision myself. I don't have it in me to kill him. We'll liberate Halen. I had to liberate Halen. I had to let him survive and give him a chance. If he still chooses to oppose us, then we could execute him after the war. But as long as his conversion was a possibility, I had to take a chance. I tell Zoe to release the chokehold, but hold Halen in place. He obeys without hesitation, and I slowly make my way over to him. Pressing the blade against Halen's chest, I ask it to give him his freedom. A few seconds later, Halen falls to the ground, unconscious. I have him carried over to a safe spot where he could recover in silence. If and when he woke up, I hope that it would be as a new, smarter man. With that out of the way, we had to make our way up those stairs. Within a few more minutes, they'd be face to face with our enemy. It was time to rise to the challenge and change this world.
You know what? I'll stay behind. Pro and Fortum should be at the atrium any minute now. I want to make sure I'm there to greet them and fill them in.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's not my place to face the triumvirate. Not again. This fight belongs to the both of you. So go and see it through.
I want to give this man a big hug so badly. I headcanon that we both give each other a hug before he leaves. We both nod at him as he makes his way back to the atrium. On his way out, he picks his sword up from the ground. Sophie scoffs, and does the same thing soon after.
A good idea, actually. Something tells me we'll be fighting even more. Say, can you do me one favor before we head up?
What did I choose? I chose to liberate... Halen. This is your first time seeing this? Oh wow. Kinda surprised that you're choosing to see the finale of Winds of Change, Brad.
Here. Just trust me.
Oh, don't worry, I trust you. He reaches behind me and adjusts my scabbard. Not sure why, but he switches it to the other side. I'm not left-handed, so that only made things awkward. You know what? We had a choice if we wanted to be right-handed or left-handed. So, that played an important role in the story? Wow. I chose to trust him.
Thank you.
And a second later, we're making our way up the stairs. All we had to do was dethrone the triumvirate. Simple enough. The Winds of Change is on sale, $9.99 on Steam. I think today's the last day of the visual novel sale, so if you're really interested, I'd say splurge on it. After that, I'd meet my friends in the atrium, at least the ones that survived. Liberty or death? I chose liberty. Oh man. Dominic fights for his life in the town square, surrounded by suits of armor. He's lost sight of all of his allies and is unable to tell if they're even still alive. Still, he fights on. He'd never give up, not when he's this close to the end. That bell would surely ring any minute and bring an end to the war. Actually, I'm curious. Oh. Wait, that was a choice of corruption? Sparing him was corruption? So much for ending the game at 50-50. Man. Seriously, the morality system in this game is confusing. That bell would surely ring any minute and bring an end to war. If the monarch followed through, then this world belonged to them. This is the fact that kept him fighting, even as his hope was lost. Fatigue started to settle in, making him move slower. As suits of armor fell, so did his strength and resolve. He was surrounded, fighting in every direction.
Come on, 14, we can't hold the town square forever.
And just then, an arrow pierces through his shoulder. He stumbles back and falls to his knees before pushing it out. This pain was minuscule compared to what he felt back in Museo. Rising up, he starts to fight with anger as well as determination. In a rage, he takes down the suits of armor even faster than before. Another arrow pierces his upper body, but nothing could stop him now. Keeping this arrow in line, he grabs another sword that lay on the ground. Fighting with two of them, he's able to guard himself more efficiently. The suits of armor are arriving faster than he can kill them, however. Soon enough, he was surrounded by more suits that he could hope to kill. With no allies around him to come to his aid, he knew that things were dire. If Fortem didn't ring that bell, then this could very well be his final stand. He throws his second sword to the ground and takes a deep breath. He was prepared to face his death. This somehow made him stronger. The pain from the arrow only served to push him to more extremes.
I guess it's time.
His fighting starts to become more desperate as tears blur his vision. The fact that he couldn't see any of his friends just hurt him even more. He had to assume that everybody around him had fallen during battle.
Stay back! I'm warning you!
He held out his sword as if to threaten. His hand trembles. The honor guard did not heed his warning, and they close in on him. Having no choice but to continue fighting, he lets out labored grunts. Though his blurred vision, he's also unable to make out anything. His saving grace is the contrast of the white suits over Baltea's decay. Using this as a guide, he's able to keep taking down his enemies. He tries finding his way in the direction of the archers. Those were more of a threat to him than the suits with swords. In fact, he was certain that those archers had killed quite a few men. And unfortunately, he may be the next one added to the count. An arrow is shot through his gut and he screams, falling back. Not a grievous wound, but he is immediately caught off guard. Something smashes into the back of his head and he collapses. Turning around, he sees his suit, holding a rock covered in his blood. An open wound to the back of his head starts staining the ground.
What?
He writhes on the ground in pain and confusion. The suit kneels down and grabs a sword from the ground. It was the same one that Dominic had discarded moments earlier. He's surprised to see that the rest of the honor guard stands down, as if they acknowledged this one had deserved to deal the final blow. Dominic cries, looking up in horror as the suit raises up the sword. But before they can follow through with their thrust, something happens. An arrow pierces through the suit of armor and it crumbles to the ground. Dominic looks around in confusion. Had an ally finally come to his aid?
Dominic, give me your hand!
Shane! Oh, it was good that we spared him. Whew. Dominic cries out softly, not sure what's going on. Last time he saw Shane, he tried to kill him, and basically succeeded. But here we are now, offering his hand. What was happening?
Dominic, quick! You don't have much time!
Dominic shakes his head, but then realizes he has no other option. Grabbing Shane's hand, he accepts the help and rises to his feet. He stumbles forward, almost falling back down, but he doesn't. He presses his back against Shane, still a bit delirious. But his friend supports him, as he draws a set of daggers. Confusion assails Dominic as everything was happening so fast.
There. We're even now.
Dominic nods.
So what do you say, Dominic? Fight? Just like old times?
Dominic nods again, and he raises his sword. A moment later, they both charge towards the suits of armor. Like a team, and like friends, they fight together once more.
Just keep it up, Dominic. I'll patch you up as soon as we're safe.
Shane, talk to me. Why are you doing this?
But Shane doesn't answer, at least not before the bell is rung. A loud ringing fills the air, delivering the sound of hope to Dominic's ears. Fortem has achieved his goal. That means his allies still lived. Dominic goes to keep fighting, but Shane holds him back.
Dominic, no! Look! It's over.
The honor guard turns to stare at the source of the ringing. Then they throw their swords to the ground without hesitation. Starting to march away, they abandon all their previous efforts.
We did it. I can't believe this.
Without a word, Shane just stands there along with Dominic. Together, as the ass rains down upon them, they watch their foes flee. Dominic smiles, a few tears running down his face. Was it all really over? No, that wasn't the right way of looking at it. Things have just begun. The monarch had to finish it all. Dominic looked in the direction of the castle as hope rises within him.
Monarch, good luck. We're all counting on you.
The town square is soon devoid of all foes. But now, without obstructed vision, Dominic can see all of his allies. They raise their swords in the air and start cheering, while theirs was theirs. And soon, the lives of the triumvirate would be theirs as well. They cheered the monarch's name, and then that's all Dominic can hear. That's all he needed to hear. The name of the monarch meant hope. So we definitely know Dominic survived. The ringing of the bell echoes in my ears. It's almost deafening. I'm relieved to know that Fortem survived and succeeded. Me and Zoe stand in darkness, and it's hard to see.
Here, you'll be needing this.
He hands me a torch that was hung against the wall.
And watch your step as we go up those stairs. If you fall off the edge, well, you know how high we are.
I nod. The thought filled me with fright. I hold out the torch and see the bizarre sight before me. The walls are lined with gears, just like those on the blade. They spin and rotate in directions that they shouldn't. It makes no sense to me, but then again, neither does the blade. The gear on the blade spun in a way that was physically impossible. Fog lines the stairs leading up the triumvirate's chambers. I was confident a moment ago, but this sight fills me with unease. I've never seen anything like it, and it's very concerning to me. I couldn't see off the edge of the stairs, and there was no railing. The slightest stumble could send me back down to the atrium. I do need to go back there, but that's not the way I'd do it.
I have one piece of advice for you, Monarch. Don't let them talk to you. Just kill them with no question. All they'll do is try to justify their actions and earn your sympathy. They prey on the minds of the weak, of those that they can mold. I know you're strong, but they just have this way of convincing you. I'd hate to see that happen to you. So remember, kill them all.
I tell them that I don't care what they say to me. I'm here to kill them. They could speak to me all they wished. They'd accomplish nothing. An easy goal to have in mind, but in practice, I guess I had no idea. I'd have to find out, however. Someone steps out of the room ahead of us. As they move towards us, I can see the white and gold of their cloak. One of them left the chambers? I thought they didn't do that.
Sylvie, you've returned. Were we not clear enough? A permanent exile is non-negotiable.
But you said...
He turns to them and motions as if he's pleading.
You said I could come back if I brought the blade. Is this not what you wanted? Was it not a test?
The triumvirate looks down at both of us and sighs.
You think that you can fool us so easily? We know where your allegiance lies, Sophie. There is nothing in this world we cannot see.
So he gritted his teeth. I could tell that he was angry. I'm confused, but I trust him. I knew he was on my side. At least that's what I thought. Wait, everything changes in an instant?
Everything I did for you. Were you really too foolish to realize that? My attempt to help the rebellion was only an act.
So is your attempts at fooling the triumvirate. You're just acting, right, Sophie? Right?
I've brought the enemy and the blade to your doorstep. Even after this, you deny me my redemption.
I immediately try to run, but Zoe grabs my left arm. As much as I struggle, it's no use. He's too strong. I'm filled with fright. How could he do this? Wait, I'm gonna give it time.
You've done nothing but bring an armed enemy into our home. Your judgment is clouded, Sophie. We decline your offer.
No!
A second after, Sobi faces the blade into his hands. Then, much to my regret, he slices through my arm with ease? I scream, and then from the elbow down, almost nothing remains.
Then take this as an offering. That arm will never again be used against you. Before all of us, the monarch is defenseless.
I don't feel anything, almost as if my body numbs itself from the trauma. But the sight is all too real. My lower arm, limp, and dead on the floor. Blood spurts from the wound, and I look at Sobi in disbelief. Wait. Okay, first of all, I'm mad that Sobi cut my left arm, but at the same time, maybe that he's fooling the triumvirate into thinking I'm left-handed, but in reality, and yet I can use my right hand to fight back. That's what I'm gonna hope is what's going on. He makes direct eye contact with me and then looks at the torch. I'm still gripping it tight, and that's when things make sense. Was he trying to fool them? I still have use of my good arm. I slump against the wall and use the torch to burn the wound shut. Ow! Oh god. A disgusting smell fills the air and I can hear cracking and sizzling. This is all I can do, while I watch Sobi ascend the stairs with the blade.
You continue to surprise us, Sophie. Very well. Let us talk.
The triumvirate looks down at my scabbard. They definitely believe Sobi removed my dominant arm. I don't know why any of this is happening, but I let it all unfold. I trust him.
Thank you, Master. I am sorry for letting you down in the past. I can only hope that this offering is enough to please you.
He continues to walk up the stairs, slowly, as if somewhat scared. If I were him, I wouldn't want to make any sudden movements either. The triumvirate has the advantage here. All we can do is try our best.
Remove threats to ensure the continued reign of Alestia's leaders. Is that not what you wanted? Is that not the role of the Grand Inquisitor?
As he speaks, he reaches the top of the stairs and faces his master. The triumvirate lets out another loud sigh and proceeds to nod a few times. By now, I'm almost coherent again, and the wound bleeds no more, burned shut.
You are right. Kneel, Sophie, and pledge your loyalty. Then, turn that blade on the monarch and take his soul. That's all we need. The blade and the power inside him.
Sobi immediately drops the blade to his side and kneels down. It hits the ground with a loud metal clang, then rests there, motionless.
Yes, whatever you say, I will continue to serve. As the Grand Inquisitor, I have only one goal: removing threats to the throne of Alestia.
He trembles, frightened as the triumvirate nods. Wait, triumvir, oh.
And I shall start with you.
A moment later, the blade disappears from the ground, but it doesn't return to Sobi's hands, or even mine. It phases directly through the chest of the triumvir.
Sophie!
He rises to his feet and grips the handle of the blade. I can see tears streaming from his eyes, sad at what he's done. He's shaking, as if he almost refuses to believe that this is real.
I hate that you're making me do this. I hate the man that you've made me become.
Sophie.
And a moment later, he pulls out the blade. There, with a harsh kick, the triumvir flies off the edge. I can hear their scream as they fall, and then the screams fade. So he drops the blade and then drops back down to his knees. I start walking up the stairs, shocked at what I just saw. One of them was dead? Now only two more remain.
Monarch, take the blade and go. End this foolish war. Please.
I summon the blade back to my hand and walk up the stairs. I stop as I arrive beside him, and he simply shakes his head. I consider placing my hand on his shoulder, but it's no use.
Just go.
With a sigh of regret, I realize that there's nothing I can do. I wouldn't even have time to chastise him. I decide to enter their chambers. His cries fill my ears and dissipate with each step I take towards the end. Either the end of the triumvirate, or the end of myself. Damn. I can't believe deciding whether we're left or right-handed led to this. Losing a limb. When I enter their chambers, it looks just like I remember it. I've been here before. I've had visions of standing in this very spot. In those visions, I remember walking towards the idol in the back. I can feel the blade respond to this room, but I'm not sure why. It's not moving or anything. It's just a feeling deep in my gut. As I go to grab the blade, I hear a loud voice call out to me. Hey, I'll be right back. I actually need a bathroom break, so give me a minute. Okay, I'm back. Just making sure OBS is well and good. Okay, I can feel the blade respond to this room, but I'm not sure why. It's not moving or anything. It's just a feeling deep in my gut. As I go to grab the blade, I hear a loud voice call out to me.
Stop.
Then, out of nowhere, I see two cloaks appear by the idol. One of them stays in place, and the other walks towards me. The one at the back was surely my target and their leader.
Do not draw that blade unless you intend to use it. That idol will respond to your aggression. and fight back. We will not harm you. We brought you here for another reason.
Another reason? What could it be? No, I gotta fight. I know I was told not to let them speak, but I'm curious. Assuming a neutral stance, I ask them to explain themselves.
That is a tall order, Monarch.
I noticed they used my proper title. In this moment, there was no room left for doubt. Everything Hal told us about the triumvirate was true. They don't speak, they just stand there in silence. If I had anything to ask them, I guess now would be the time to do it. However, earlier warnings echo in my ears, warnings against letting them speak. You know what? I'm heeding their words. We're not talking. Let's end this. I came here to kill them, and that's what I do. No matter what they had to say, they couldn't talk themselves free. They hurt my world and my friends. I wouldn't make them suffer.
The mind can suffer when stuck in the same time and place. History repeating itself can be far more than maddening. We try to break free from the cycle, but only perish.
This member of the triumvirate is talking so differently. The one back in the previous room had almost a completely different story. If being caught in a cycle could drive them mad, I had to wonder which one was mad.
This is why we will not stop you if you wish to kill us. That blade has kept us alive long enough to see things through. Our final rest would only be a sign that we have finally won. So go ahead, kill me, and kill my master. Turn that blade on the idol, and see what happens. See if you can free everybody from its wrath. Not just us, or Alestia, but all worlds, and all people. If you are not strong enough, then the cycle will just start anew. Before you know it, you may be facing us here once more. But know that we are not your enemy. All we've done to...
I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of this weak justification. I phased the blade into my hand and thrust it through their chest. But like I was warned before, the idol responds to my aggression. Ah! The room is engulfed in a blinding darkness. It must be the idol. The blade usually causes a white light. I feel immense warmth around me. I hear the crackling of flames. The darkness fades, and the entire room is engulfed in fire. The triumvirate stands before me, bleeding and crying. These were no gods, just weak, arrogant people.
Very well.
I turn left to face the flames, forcefully taking them with me. I hold them there, with the blade, tempted to absorb their soul. But no, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve the satisfaction. I pull the blade out and watch as the wound oozes blood. Then I grab them by the cloak and pull them closer to me. In the final moments, I curse them and condemn them. And then I push them back into the idol's flames. I hear them scream and writhe as they slowly burned alive. In my opinion, they deserved a punishment far worse than that. Now, just one more to go. As I turn back to face the idol, the final triumvirate stands before me. I hold out the blade towards them, showing my intent to kill. That was my goal: kill the triumvirate, destroy the idol.
Stop! Think about what you're doing. Everything we've done in the name of freedom.
They get down on their knees and look up at me.
Normally, I'd send you back to start the cycle anew. But now, your strength surpasses mine. This must be the end. I beg for your mercy. Let me live to see what I fought for.
No! For Ulric! Without hesitation, I swing the blade and cut off their head. They fall to the ground, and bloodstains the white of their cloak. I'm not sure what to believe, as they all had something different to say. Perhaps they meant to use that doubt as a weapon when I got here. I throw away that nonsense and stick to the goal I originally had. With them out of the way, it was time to destroy that idol for good. I take a step forward, and my body is assaulted with pain. I can tell that the idol is fighting back, and I fall to my knees. The flames are so hot that I feel as if I'm melting away too. But no, something else is happening. It's not just the flames. The idol is trying to kill me, but I'm not the only one here. Inside of me is the monarchy, billions of spirits wanting to help. It's almost as if they're shielding me, sacrificing themselves for me. I stand up and take another step forward. The pain is even worse. I fall to my hands and knees and cry in agony. It's too much.
Together we held a sword. Together we bled and warred against the icy bitter winds. Together we soared. Never did we fight all alone. Stand together and choose.
My vision blurs, but after a while, things return to normal. Though the pain has gone away, I start to feel weaker and weaker. I know that the souls inside of me are giving their lives for this. If I could get to the idol and attack it, I might be able to win. That was a big maybe, but that was one thing I knew for sure. I might not live through this. There was no other option.
We have rid the world of its darkest fate. Hear the changed winds speak. They will sing of all the good we've done and how life has a chance. I'll be here in your memory. We had to take a stance. I will not disappear if you live on. Dance and find joy in all I've held, in all I've done.
Every step I took could easily be my last.
Believe it and remember how we won. Never fighting.
Determination rises within me, and I take another step forward. My body is racked with pain, and it's almost impossible to walk. I use the blade as a makeshift cane, as a voice sounds in my head.
You can do this, Monarch. Don't give up.
I'm not sure what I just heard, because nobody is actually around me. In these chambers, it would seem that time and space act abnormally. With another step, I grind my teeth. It feels like I'm being torn apart.
Keep on moving! We didn't come this far just to lose now!
As the souls exit my body to seal me, I get noticeably weaker. I tremble with every step, trying as hard as I can to keep myself standing. My comrades come out to me and urge me to keep moving. I start to cry.
I guess I'm no longer the strongest member of the rebellion. I'm proud of you, Monarch. You saw this through to the bitter end.
With another step, I fall right to the ground. I lay there, crying and squirming in pain. I grip on the blade tines as I shake.
Is this really how you want your story to be told? Get up, Monarch! Get up and finish what you started!
I use the blade for support and try to rise to my feet. This is taking so much out of me. Would I have enough power in the end? Hoping with every fiber of my being that I do, to take another step forward.
I knew there was something special about you. Ever since the start, you brought us all together and unified us. You made us a family.
I smile, a stark contrast to the tears streaming down my face. With another step, I'm almost facing the idol. I couldn't do this alone. The voices of my comrades, the souls inside of me carry forward.
So, everything has led to this. The monarchy is no more, but you can still live. Make it through this, and give Alestia the future it deserves.
I take one more nod and ready the blade. As soon as I thrust it into that idol, things would be over. As the power within me dwindled, I realized one thing. No matter what happened next, the blade would be destroyed. But if I wanted to get rid of the idol for good, I would perish as well. In order to live and see another day, I had to hold back, just a bit. And if I did that, there's a chance the idol might not be fully defeated. It could come back in the future to corrupt and decay other innocent worlds. Was keeping my life worth condemning other worlds to suffer like we did? I thrust the blade into the idol and activated. The blinding white light follows. This was the end. The blade, in mere moments, would enact my final will. I just have to ask myself, what would that final will be? What fate would await me in all those innocent worlds? I'll cast away the idol, even if it comes back, and causes us more sadness and heartache. We'll be there to protect the worlds. For my friends. For the world. For Ulric! I had a world to rule. I couldn't just let myself die. I was the monarch, and I needed to live up to that role. If I died during this war, the world could be thrown into disarray. At least that's the justification that I gave to myself. I just know that deep down inside, I deserve to see the world I fought for. That triumvirate wanted the same, but I denied them. What gave me the right? I guess it didn't matter now. I can feel myself fading away. After I command the blade to conserve power and save me, I close my eyes. No matter what happened to me, I could rest knowing one simple fact. Alessia had been given the future that it deserved. In the hands of the people, they were free to live as they pleased. As everything fades away, I wonder what that future might bring my allies. The epilogue.
Valessa returned to Valenorth, accepting her mantle as elder. Leading Valenorth in a way that respected its tradition, the nation flourished. Borders became less strict, and Valenorth was popular with tourists in the future. Because of her wishes and style of leadership, Valenorth retained its culture. Forests were left intact, the idol was left standing, and everything was just as it was. Going down in history as one of the most revered elders, all future rulers respected her wishes. Valessa would stay in close contact with you throughout her lifetime. Though the distance between you was large, your bond was forever strong. Visits, as infrequent as they were, played out as if no time was lost at all. But, as dictated by time, all reigns must come to an end. Valessa passed away peacefully, surrounded by friends and family. She lived a long, full life, a wonderful reward for her former duty and sacrifice. Because of your efforts and choices, Valessa survived. When the whole world stood against her, she faced it and prevailed. You gave her a gift of a happy, peaceful life, one not lost to senseless war. Fortem chose to settle in Mazeo after the war. Helping the nation's people adjust to the new world was his goal. However, this was to make up for the truth of learning that his parents were pirates. Undoing the damage they had done to the nation was his top priority. Soon after that, the wounds of Mazeo were healed. Everybody was safe and happy. Tales of the occupation and the triumvirate's wrath soon faded into history and legend. In his eyes, he had made up for any harm his parents had caused the nation. When he passed away, he was known as one of Mazeo's greatest public figures. Without his help and direction, many say the nation would have never recovered at all. During all of this, he kept in close contact with you. Frequent visits to the throne kept your bond alive forever. From your new home in Balteus, you assisted his efforts in Mazeo. Though it was a joint effort, history remembered Fortem's efforts. You would be remembered for other endeavors, but that was fine. He deserved most of the credit for helping to heal Mazeo's wounds. It wasn't very long until word of Fortem's other endeavors came to light. Having been the first person to climb the Grand Tree, he was a legend. And just like he had wished, it soon became a tradition for climbers to scale the tree. This continued for almost an eternity after his passing. Climbers would leave notes for him at the top of the tree, close to the heavens. They thought that maybe somehow he could read them. They thanked him for all he had done. Fortem survived the war despite all odds. His strong love for everything around him kept him afloat. When all hope was lost, he stood up and challenged death in the face. And for that, he was never forgotten. Living a long and full life, he was happy. Alestia was forever better because of him. Though Pro was lost during the war, his writing endured and created a legacy. He had the most detailed records of the rebellion and wrote about almost everybody. Everything you could possibly want to know, down to the smallest detail, had been written. His work went down in history as one of the most detailed records of wartime. Every soldier, their likes and dislikes, their daily routines, he had written it all. Grieving friends would use these texts to keep the memories of their loved ones alive. It was reported that a man and woman resembling Pro were seen in his memorial. However, they disappeared as quickly as they had come, never to be seen again. You did your best to keep Pro's memory alive, and had all of his writing copied. No matter how small the details, you wanted his work to live on as long as it could. As you read it all, you looked back on fond memories, and saw how far you'd come.
Oh. What did I do wrong? Why didn't he survive? So, even if I gain their loyalty, survival isn't guaranteed? What did I do wrong?
Though he couldn't enjoy this victory with you, you knew he'd be proud. Tales of your bond during the war ended up outliving the both of you. It showed how friendship and camaraderie can flourish even in war. Pro's identity as the mole within the rebellion never came to light. However, even if it did, he had done enough to make up for his actions. Many aspired to write like him, but none could achieve such prowess. After the war, Ulric did his best to assist the throne and serve the monarchy. There was much to take care of, and things were chaotic after the fog of war settled. But he was up to the task, and he did everything in his power to make the world a better place. In his spare time, he would visit New Alarinthia and assist Vivian as well. Having achieved his dream of a changed nation, it made sense to help out. It would take a while before every Alarinthian adjusted to this new lifestyle. During your reign, you had never known a more loyal ally. Though his past was with the Inquisition, his future was with you. Your love was strong, and ruling together was a joy. The world was at peace. He took on the job of helping the world adjust to the new status quo. Spreading the news of the Triumvirate's fall, he helped people understand. It was a task as monumental as it was long to complete, but he did complete it. The world embraced your rule, and Alestia was forever better because of it. Insurrections were rare and insignificant. Things were peaceful, all thanks to you. As your right hand and lover, Ulric did everything in his power to keep it that way. Thanks to your efforts in lifting his curse, Ulric was finally able to grow old. Though death was now capable of taking him, he seemed happier than ever before, especially now that he had somebody like you by his side to grow old with him.
Oh.
Thanks to your efforts, Ulric was able to live a happy life, free from the Triumvirate. The shadows of his past soon dissipated, and he turned into a new man, truly loved by the people. Though his secrets never came to light, he had certainly done enough work to make up for them. After the battle for Alestia, Damek had a lot of work to do. Going from a member of the rebellion to a leader in the monarchy was a huge change. He was no longer part of a small army. His actions affected the entire world. He remained a loyal servant to the throne of Alestia, carrying out your every order. Being originally in charge of the rebellion, it made no sense to back down after victory. Your friendship grew ever stronger, held together by an unbreakable bond formed in strife. As your closest advisor, you spent almost every waking moment together. The war did not win you rest, for in your victory, the work had only just begun. Uniting a confused world and winning over their love as ruler was a daunting task. But it was a task that you two completed side by side. Damek was just as important to history as you, and he was never forgotten. The tale of his growth from orphan child to world leader inspired generations to come. Damek eventually got over all of the fears that controlled him. He paid visits to the spot where he lost his mother, but it held no power over him. Speaking as if she were there with him, he told her stories of everything that happened. And he was able to leave without feeling sad. Instead, he was happy. He knew that if she were really there, she would be proud of him. That was enough to keep him going when times got tough. Thanks to your efforts, Damek was able to live a long, happy life. He served the throne for the rest of his life, remaining forever loyal. The tale of how far he'd come would go down in history and become legend. Sophie's past crimes were pardoned after his exceptional performance in Balteus. His defection from the Triumvirate and his advice regarding them were seen as invaluable. Were it not for his actions and his change of heart, the war would have been lost. True to his word, he used his eternal life to serve the monarchy. He was able to tell stories of your battles and keep your legacy alive. Every ruler in the future would know exactly who gave them their power. You never forgot what he did, and your bond grew ever stronger. The man who started out as your enemy became your closest ally, an immortal guardian for everybody who would follow your rule. Giving Howl his independence came at the cost of his life. However, he knew the chances of dying were high when he asked. People would say that you made the right choice by granting him his wish. The loss of Howl meant the loss of one of your key allies. For a while, your work was stressful and incredibly overwhelming. It was thanks to the help of your friends that you prevailed. Many mourned the loss of Howl in the battle for Alestia. His wealth of knowledge about the monarchy would have filled books. However, his kind was now all but extinct, a casualty of this ruthless war. Aaron personally oversaw the transition of his home from a tavern to a barracks. He wanted to ensure that during the switch, things still met his standards and regulations. Peregrino became a source of immeasurable military might, and Aaron oversaw all of it. Though conflict was rare, Peregrino remained as the first line of defense to protect Valenorth. Aaron realized that he hadn't lost his home at all, for home was where he and his friends resided. He lived the rest of his days in this new barracks, a proud servant of the new monarchy.
Oh, good. I'm glad he didn't lose his home.
This is where Milas settled down, unable to decide between Mazeo and Valenorth. He lived a happy and peaceful life, choosing how his remaining days played out. Being free to choose what happened to him, he was never bound by duty again. After the chaos dwindled, Alex returned to Mazeo and started a new life. His treaty was honored, and pirates were forgiven for all they had done. All bans were lifted, and pirates were officially employed as traders. Neda was never seen again. It was assumed that she didn't agree with these changes, or perhaps she was spiteful that you didn't choose to align with her demands. Either way, Alestia would forever remember her as a ruthless pirate lord. Grizz was a casualty of this ruthless war, but his legacy lived on. Stepping up as mayor of Mazeo, Lilith continued what he started. She honored the pirate treaty and helped Mazeo adjust to every change. The Monarch vessels were affected by your attack on the Dark Idol. As if offering their strength when needed the most, the excess spirits vanished. When the fog of war settled, they were left as individuals, free of pain and despair.
Oh.
Vivian returned to Alarinthia and led it into a new age. No longer was the fate of the nation in the hands of the strong. Alarinthia existed in unity with the new monarchy, and it flourished. Trade routes were introduced, and its ports were open to everybody. The strict security and immigration process had been abolished permanently. Holding a ball every year, Vivian kept up the tradition of giving to the people. One thing was for sure. Alarinthia would never be in the hands of the strong again. Vivian lived out a long and happy life in the nation he had always dreamed of creating. Shane was never seen again after that fateful encounter in Balteus. He is presumed dead, and many refuse to speak about his betrayal. If he survived, he went to great lengths to remain hidden from the world. When the chaos and confusion settled down, Halen seemed like a new man. He likened his existence to that of a spectator watching a performance. No matter what he wanted to do, his body could not defy his masters. He decided to atone for what he had done and joined the new monarchy. Of course, many people were apprehensive about accepting his aid. Over time, they learned to accept him and his desires as genuine.
Good, so he did redeem himself.
His job stayed largely the same, ensuring that Alestia's rulers remained in power. But with new masters and even new friends, he took pride in being on the right side. With the Dark Idol gone from Balteus, the corruption slowly waned. Over the next several decades, it made a complete transformation. Many would call it the most beautiful place in all of Alestian history. Its name was changed to New Balteus, and left behind its old roots. No longer would it be known as the seat of the tyrannical triumvirate. People would see it as the place where Alestia was changed forever. People would come from all over the world to see the home of the new monarchy. It became a symbol of new beginnings, teaching people that change is always possible. As the corruption slowly disappeared, people settled down and turned it into a prosperous nation. You were loved by all of your subjects and led the world into a new age. but guiding everybody to the bright future you secured would be a journey of its own. And knowing that fact made one thing clear. Your work had only just begun. Thank you for your service, Monarch. For everything you've done, you will never be forgotten.
All alliances survived the final battle. Guess they don't mean party members. I stumbled down the stairs, making my way to the atrium. Holding the destroyed Blade of Exodus, I used it for support. I would never jeopardize the future of other innocent worlds. When I started wondering if I may have made the wrong decision. I used the blade to temporarily destroy that idol. It wasn't gone for good. Whoever ended up in the future, how would they fight it off? Or maybe not having to rely on the Blade of Exodus was a good thing. Maybe the next world it played could create another means to destroy it. All I knew for sure was that the blade was destroyed and Alestia was safe. As I moved, I see flashes, almost like I'm having visions. I know I couldn't see the future, but for a moment it felt like I did. I can't explain it, but it felt like I knew what became of our lives. At least, those that survived. It was a vision, and I take it as one final gift. When I arrive back at the entrance, I see exactly who I expected. Just as we had planned, everybody made their way here after the battle. It takes a few seconds before they notice me, but they all quickly approach me.
Monarch! I'm so glad you made it. When the castle started shaking, I feared for the worst. I'm just glad I got to ring that bell. I saved so many lives.
I'll admit, I was starting to worry as well. Sorry if you were scared when we parted ways earlier. But thanks to those daggers, they didn't stand a chance.
I'm glad that you saw it through to the end, Monarch. Something told me that helping you was the right thing to do. After today, I can rest easy knowing that I made the right choice.
Then I see Ulric approaching me from the other side. It was good to see him alive. I could tell that he's super happy. All the stress and worry seemed to melt away from the room when I arrived.
Everything went as planned. I bet you have some pretty interesting stories to tell. Save it for later, though. There's a lot of work to do.
You'll never guess what happened, Monarch. Just as I was about to fall in battle, Shane came to my rescue. I'm not sure where he is now, but I've sent out a search party.
Everybody gathers around me, looking at the broken blade. Guess there was no point in holding on to it anymore. I throw it to the ground. I never use it again. And I consider it a blessing that I never need to. I survived, and the Blade of Exodus was no more. Nobody would ever again be tempted and seduced by its power. I did my part, and for that, it was time that I got some rest.
Wait, rest? You know there won't be any time for that, right? You're the ruler of this world now. There's still so much left to do.
He's right. Taking down the triumvirate was just the first step. We need to tell the people what happened, and earn their loyalty.
But it won't be all bad, right? I mean, we'll have your back the entire time.
I let out a soft laugh, but then I stumble over. Mortimer and Ola grab onto me and support me. Guess I wasn't holding up as well as I thought.
Whoa, watch your step, Monarch. Here, let's find you a place to sit down.
Yeah, then we can talk about what happens next. Remember, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning.
I smile as I remain in the arms of my comrades. They didn't know what happened next, but I still feel like I did. And Fortune was right. It was a new beginning for every Alestian. And that's it! Winds of Change is over! Like to continue? I'm gonna put this on auto. Oh, I guess I have to click it. Oh my heart! I love this game, guys. That was a fun read. Man. Man, I guess not all of my choices were right. But I'm pretty happy with how this ended. Here's the cast list. Jordan Moore, thank you for voicing Ulric. You did amazing. Thank you. There's Sean Chiplock. I already knew that. Him voicing Soviet Pro. Chris Sharps as Halen and Dominic. Oh, you know what? I can kind of see a vocal resemblance now with these two. Ed Coe as Howl. Stephen Groove as the Triumvirate. Oh, so it was one person, not multiple people voicing them. I'm honestly not familiar with most of these voice actors. Oh look! Oh. Well, now that the credits rolled? Quality assurance. A sub alert? Oh! Why are my alerts working? Thank you for the subscription, Brad. I really appreciate it. Oh, well, hello there. The greatest challenge in life is life itself. It will do everything in its power to knock you down and hurt you. The only solution is to prove to life that you're just as much of a challenge point as it is for you. Even if life thinks it has the upper hand, show it that you don't need to face its challenge alone. That's inspiring. You didn't want to ruin the ending with a sub alert? Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, these are Kickstarter messages. Man, if I knew I would have loved this game, I would have helped with the Kickstarter. I'm glad it worked. Man, this game is awesome. So happy I splurged on it so I could play it. Minotaur, thank you for the 500 bits. I really appreciate it. Oh, wait. Messages from the voice actors? Oh wait, did I miss something? Wait, did Four-time is best girl? Yeah, this is so amusing. Yeah, look at all these supporters! Oh, thank you, thank you! Character credits. Ulric belongs to Falir? Are those like the artists that drew the characters? Thanks for playing. Oh, I can't believe it's over. I love the story. I love the characters. It was so good. Wait, should I have... Too late for me to make a save now, I guess. It's fine. Wow. Okay, there's something I'm curious about. I saw a Winds of Change story guide on the Steam Community Hub, and I would love to know what I did wrong. Why Pro and Hal did not survive. I actually went through the guide to help me find Sylvie's Heart of Hearts, since I started getting a little impatient there. I'll turn the volume down in the game, so you guys can hear me well. Let's see. You need 90% morale for everyone to survive. You get 30% just for playing through the story, and an additional 10% for every loyal crew member. Beyond this, you also need to have met the following conditions. So there was conditions. It's not just morale and getting everyone's loyalty. For Ulric, he always survives. Oh, thank goodness! Thank goodness there isn't a condition that, well, Ulric dies. For Tim, always survives. Huh, so our climber will survive no matter what. Melissa, get her loyalty before the final act. Oh, so that's one condition. Zoe, either don't let him join, which removes him entirely, or let him join and get his loyalty before the final act. Okay? Okay, what did I do wrong with Pro? Don't let Grizz sacrifice himself and instead choose to tap into the idol's power yourself? Wait, why did that matter if Pro survived or not? How does that have any relation with Pro? Wait, okay. It would have made more sense if back in Altamira, where Pro was asking for forgiveness, if I said no, that would have been a good reason for him not to survive. But Grizz was the important factor of Pro surviving? That's so dumb! You know what, Chad, look. I have a file saved where I did not choose yet of Grizz's his fate. Whether I use the shrine's power or he. I am so tempted to reload and do this game over again so Pro can have his happy ending. Anyway, Dominic, spare Shane. So, I made the good choice in sparing Shane. Now that makes sense, because Shane helps Dominic survive. Hal, either don't activate the final time scene, or activate the scene, but don't remove the spirits to power your sword. So, me making Hal, weak decided on Hal's, fate. I doubt it, because Grizz looked like he was about to die anyway. Yeah, I'm so confused. Alright, let's read what happens if I sacrifice myself. Wait, what? What happened with each of your party members' lives and what they've done in memory of you, with mentions of any relationships as well? If any party members passed away, you are told about what happened as a result of their deaths. You were also told a bit about the lives of many of the others you met along the way. Afterward, you awakened back in your home in Valinor, with your arm still missing but with history having been changed. You have found my Fortim, and it's now the anniversary of your induction. You mentioned sailors in Milas having sent him, and your parents waiting on you. Oh, I guess Fortim as the seer was just, as the scribe, seeing me off. Well, there's no way I'd sacrifice myself, otherwise, the Monarch and Ulric would not have their happy ending. Gosh. I only have 2 achievements left. What were the other achievements I was missing? No more than 6. Unlocks after you make the choice to refuse Solvi's help in Oh. So I get this achievement if I refuse Solvi's help. And, together, as unlocked after the final battle concludes and as long as all of my party members survive. You know, I'm a little worried about, watching what happens if Solvi doesn't, join us. Would Ulric have to chop my arm off? I would not want to see that, honestly. Well, I finished the game. But, you know what, before I end it, let's satisfy our curiosity and see what happens if I, picked the other option with, Grizz.
Please.
Okay, Grizz, tap into the idol's power for yourself. No, I couldn't let him do this. My reasons were my own. I shake my head and hold the blade closer to my body. He sighs and looks down at the floor, defeated.
Very well.
He lets go of me, and I start to stumble. I use the scabbard as a cane to hold myself up. I can tell that he's angry, but also that he understands. I expected him to fight me for the blade, but he accepts defeat. Turning around, he starts to walk away. His soldiers slump down. This was my job. This was my destiny, to harness the Blade of Exodus. I couldn't let others use it to assist in their suicide. Turning to face the idol, I slowly remove the blade from the scabbard. Remembering Grizz's insight, I try to bend the blade to my will. This time, it wouldn't overpower me. It would help me save us all from this massacre. The flash of white light that I expected is nowhere to be found. I can hold the blade with no trouble, just like I desired. So it was true. The blade is mine to control? With a white smirk, I hold the blade up to the idol. It was time to destroy all of the Honor Guard in these tunnels. It was time to free the souls of all of the condemned. Our parents, too. That desire in my mind sparks the blade, and the white light fills the room. But there's another desire, too, the survival of Dominic and our future victory. The ground shakes more violently, almost causing me to fall to the floor. But I stand my ground. This was too important. The survival of the rebellion and Alestia's future was on the line. I'm too overcome with hope to falter as the white light slowly subsides. The idol starts to flicker, like it's running out of power. Did I do it? I guess there's only one way to find out. I put the scabbard back on, and I hold on to the sword. I'm in control of it now. Okay, so is Gris still alive?
No! What have you done? There's so much you don't know. There's no one here to save you, Seer. Your life is mine, and the rebellion is no more.
Gris, a little help here?
May the triumvirate reign eternal. So it is true. The spirit realm is... Remember my mercy, Seer. Next time, you won't be so lucky.
Wow, skipping is very fast. But is there any dialogue between Gris? I'm too curious.
Who?
Really? Nothing? Yeah, I don't understand. I'll make a separate save. I don't feel like streaming anymore, so I'll either do this on my own time or maybe I'll open a stream with me sewing Pro and House surviving, and then we'll play something else. I'll think about it. But now though, oops. Wait, not quit. Main menu. I want to end it on the menu screen with the music playing. Well, everyone, this officially ends Winds of Change. Unless I sew a little more of this game, I'll either sew it on stream or I'll do YouTube videos on it. But again, wow, I love the game. It is... I love the game. I highly recommend it. If anyone in the chat who hasn't played this yet, do it. Make your own journey. See what happens with your choices. as per usual, if you enjoyed the stream, follow the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future streams. If you really enjoy my streams, you can support me through Ko-fi, Patreon, and donations, and subscribing to the channel. The support is much appreciated. And thank you for the head pats, Bowser, okay? Alright, I'm gonna see who we can raid, so give me a moment. I'm pretty happy with, Ulric and my conclusion, by the way. Mr. Labrador. Yeah, let's rate him. They're all dying if I get my hands on it? Oh. Oh, Bowser. There, the raid has started. Thank you again for watching the stream, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.